don't want it with me. Man, you won't ever stop me. Who y'all really got a problem with? Who y'all really trying to solve it with? Who don't really like the sound of this? Who come with me getting down to this? You better step back, get your neck cracked, get laid down where you best step. Better check that with a fresh map, get lost now with no extract. Like look, that's all me. Got my number, don't call me. We eating up, that's all beef. You freezing up, that's y'all's team. Cause we don't really lose no more. All about heating up, leaving that cold. You can see me heating up, killing that show. I ain't about giving up, no. Nah, cause they don't want it with me. Look, you got a problem with me. Look, cause y'all don't want it with me. If you start a fire with me, then you never gonna stop me. Ayy, sound the alarm. We about to go on. You getting it wrong. Time to go off. Can't hold us back. Truth hurts, you owe us that. My truth lurks, hey, y'all collapse. Now scoop first where your homies at. Come my team with me right now. My team so mean right now. But what you mean y'all out? It's time to weed y'all out. Okay, we coming back with a vengeance. Time to go start your engines. What is this thing y'all mention? Time for y'all stop pretending, Nah, y'all can't do that. Where your crew at? Y'all can't do that. Nah, where your crew at? Love, man, cause now you alone. Yeah, get out of my zone. Man, cause now you alone. Love, get out of my zone. Nah, cause they don't want it with me. Look, you got a problem with me. Look, cause y'all don't want it with me. If you start a fire with me, then you're never gonna stop me. Nah, cause they don't want it with me. Look, you got a problem with me. Look, cause y'all don't want it with me. If you start a fire with me, then you're never gonna stop me. They don't want it with me.
a player on top, know it. Rooftop, penthouse, suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fight through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already. Emotional work and devotion, we put in this time. Look. You won't stop my stride. I'll just break your line. I don't tolerate wasted time. You take us down, keep fighting.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Galaxy Z Fold 4, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Good evening, survivors, and welcome to the Snapdragon Pro Series Free Fire. This is still the challenge group stage, but we are in phase number 2. All of this powered by Samsung Galaxy, and of course, presented by the rest of our partners, Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop. My name is Husky, and alongside me is Victor, as we will kick off phase 2, where 12 teams will fight for 6 spots to go to Jakarta.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to see how this will turn out, because now that we've already taken like the best 6 out of the 18, now the rest of them are going to have to fight for 6 more slots. So another chance for them to get into that grand finals. But then now I think we clearly have a hierarchy of showing who is going to be the best of the rest, because we're still using points from the first phase, but now everything has been halved. So whatever sort of like big leads that people had in that first phase, it's no longer that big anymore. So I think it's a bigger chance for some of the teams, especially in the lower pages of the overall standings, will have another good shot of getting that top 6.
Yeah, so by the end of phase 1, if any of the viewers out there, have the perception of, yeah, this team is not going to make it, well, there's a chance right now. They just need to get a couple of good games in. We still have teams that are in the lead, but it is not as defined as it was by the end of phase 1. There's a lot to unpack for phase number 2. We have, 2 more weeks of play day before we get to decide the last 6 teams to go to Jakarta. But I mean, it has been a pretty intense week 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, especially like towards the end as well. We did see a lot of teams kind of pick up the pace, especially teams like Evo's Divine actually had a really amazing final day and actually allowed them to qualify as part of the top 6. This is the prize pool that everyone is fighting for. It's slightly different compared to phase 1 if you do look at it here, because again, we're mostly having only 12 teams here, so they're mostly going to be fighting for that 7 to 8 all the way to 18th position here. But nevertheless, though, there's still more prize money for these guys to contend for, and I think more money means more smiles for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, if you guys are wondering what happened to $30,000, well, that one has been given to E-Arena, I believe, that finished first last weekend. So just close your eyes, close one side of the prize pool. We look at the bottom part. Doesn't look as alluring to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, it is all about getting into Jakarta and being able to represent your region.
I think that's more important on everyone's mind here, because again, this is the second chance. The guys, especially the ones that missed out on getting into top 6, like Sem9, V Gaming Esports, they really wanted to try to use this opportunity now to ensure that even though the lead now has been halved practically, this is exactly how they're going to try to build up for the next phase of this, which is actually the grand finals.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly correct myself. First place team by the end of phase 1 was actually Nigma Galaxy. I remember even seeing the announcement, but E-Arena is definitely one of them that made it to Jakarta. Let's take a look at the Challenge Finals prize pool though. This is what the teams will be fighting for if they qualify for the Challenge Finals. 6 teams have already made it there. They're waiting to contend with the other 6 teams. But if the teams that win the Challenge Finals get $65,000, so at the end of the day, it's all about that lion's share of a prize, which is getting the biggest piece of the cake.
Yeah, to put in perspective, right? Like, even if you made it as the last team out of that top 12 to get into grand finals, you're still guaranteed $5,000, and that's already on top of the prize that you received from phase 2 of this challenge group stage. So that's still at least around $8,000 there. So it's still very viable, to even try to get into that final slot there. The question is, who is going to be the one to be able to make it?
Yeah, I think the theme song for Free Fire should be Booyah, All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled. All these guys get something just by participating, to a certain degree, but this is a point system. It is same across the board in Free Fire competitive, 12 points for Booyah, and 1 kill gives you 1 point. We're looking for the holy, the kind of the holy ratio of getting the Booyah, getting 8 to 10 kills per round. Some teams have been very consistent in doing that, but most of these squads have qualified. They are not needed to play in the last 2 weeks, so we'll see if the other remaining teams can give us that performance, because we have a lot of inconsistencies in the first 2 weeks, and it really felt like this is kind of an open battlefield.
It could be, but then my thinking is more that because these teams have already had the experience of the past phase of the group stage, to play against each other. So naturally, that first week there was probably the most chaotic, because we saw the really good mechanically skilled teams like the ones from Thailand essentially dominate that first week, but I think that now the balance of power is very firmly evened out now, because there's now a lot more familiarity with this particular lineup of different teams from all across the many regions here. Maps though always will remain the same though, because Bermuda and Kalahari will be the first two that these teams will have to challenge themselves on, and that will also be interspersed with Purgatory and Alpine in between there. So it's a little bit different kind of pace, I would say, compared to Phase 1, but certainly you want to make sure there's something a little bit new to the table here, especially for Phase 2.
This is actually, I'm taken by surprise in a good way. We're so used to having 2 maps per day, and now you have to play 4 of them, but you still get to replay Bermuda and Kalahari by the end of the day. These are the remaining 12 teams who will be fighting for the final 6 spot, with Anxiety, DEWA United Esports, FARANG, Heavy, MDH, Team Flash on one side, and on the other we have Axis Esports, Expand, First Raiders, Eclipse, King of Gamers Club, Sem9, V Gaming Esports.
Yep, so this is the first 2 groups that we'll be playing through. I especially want to keep an eye out on these couple of squads here. Farang will be one that I really want to see, because they actually eke into top 12 after yesterday's matches. So now they're sitting at 6th place overall. So they definitely will have a lot to make up for. And the thing is that even if they do get a single Booyah, that literally puts them back into contention. Another team to kind of keep an eye out for is going to be King of Gamers Club, the only Thai squad to have not made it into the top 6, and given the rise that they had in the final days of phase number 1, I would think they would stand a very good chance of making it to the top 6 by the end of this phase 2.
Absolutely, a lot of pride is on the line. There are 5 Thai teams, and being the only one left out of the big group doesn't feel nice, but it's good to see King of Gamers Club finally finding that groove by the end of this. I mean, we have so much more to look forward to, and I think another big change that we have for Phase 2 is the fact that you are playing with literally the same group for the rest of the final 2 weeks, right? We're not looking at A versus B, B versus C. This is going to be constant for 6 days straight. We have V Gaming Esports, Sem9, and King of Gamers Club as the teams to watch today, and I think it's a very fair mix of of squads to kind of look at. Sem9 and V Gaming Esports respectively in 1st and 2nd spot, with King of Gamers Club now currently in 8th spot, and I think Sem9 has a pretty good a rise in the second half of phase number 1. They started off really slow, but they were able to kind of slowly catch up, even bagging a couple of Booyahs for themselves.
Exactly. So the thing is that, V Gaming and Sem9 very much the favorites to get into that final 6, into the grand finals, just simply because they're leading the board right now. King of Gamers Club being from that Thai region, we have a lot of expectations from them as well, to make it that first page. And, the thing is that for King of Gamers Club especially, they literally have to hit the ground running though, because the gap between themselves and V Gaming and Sem9 is really huge. I think it's somewhere in the range of 50 points. So you had to imagine there has to be at least 2 rounds throughout this day where they have to literally dominate both of those squads.
Let's take a look at the overall standing, because if you guys have not heard it yet, all the teams have their points by the end of phase 1 divided by half, which is why we have some teams who has that 0.5 decimal in the total points, but it really doesn't matter. You don't get decimals in Free Fire.
I mean, it might not matter until you reach a situation where that 0.5 literally makes the difference.
Right, 0.5, you need 86.5 to make it to Jakarta, and you have 86 points. And that actually is gonna sting a bit. Well, actually, it stings a lot.
It will sting.
Now
for
that you
sure.
put it into perspective, it looks incredibly scary. As much as the gap between KOG and Sem9 is, close to 50 points, they just need one good game to squeeze in the top 6.
Exactly. I mean, this is why this is considered phase 2, right? Because most of the groundwork for this standings right now has already been done in phase 1. So already can see who are the best of the rest right now and who are the ones who really have a huge gap to make up for. King of Gamers Club, of course, they're 8th place right now, but like I said, they still have to pull off at least 2 booyahs, and that's the bare minimum for them right now. You know, so you can imagine that given the amount of like really good teams that have really come to form in the final days of the phase 1, now things are a lot more even. You cannot really make sort of like breakaway strategies. Like what King of Gamers could have done in that first phase. Now it's going to be more of a focused kind of approach. Teams will have to play the margins a lot here. Now it's going to be less about being the one to get booyahs all the time. I think it's more about being able to place consistently high enough that by the end of this whole phase, you still have enough points to make it into the top 6.
I completely agree. No, in phase 1, the teams only have 24 total rounds to play, but guess what? Now they have 36, if my math is correct. Like 6 days of play days, 6 maps per day. Yeah, I think it's correct. I think my math is... I think the numbers check out. 36 total rounds to play out, more chances to get themselves kind of in that top 6. Easier said than done, though. I think with such an even playing field, it really feels like it didn't matter how your performance was in phase number 1, because right now you are just a stone throws away from making it to top 6.
Exactly, and with the pressure of like not just the prize money, but you need the pressure to want to go to Jakarta for that grand finals. I mean, this is literally last chance city.
Yes.
This last stop you're going to be able to make. Before you make that jump to Jakarta right now. And if you kind of stumble at this spot here, what's to say about your future chances of actually going there? Speaking of which, perhaps you at home should also consider making a trip to Jakarta, because the date has been announced now, ladies and gentlemen, 4th to 5th of February in 2023. So that is next February of next year. So make sure if you guys are in town, if you guys are from Indonesia yourselves, make sure to drop by, especially for the opportunity to be able to meet the top teams for Free Fire in this region right now. They're literally all going to be there. So make sure you guys don't miss it out.
Bet the crowd's going to be wild because Evo's Divine is already there. And all of this enabled by our partners over at Snapdragon Elite Gaming, when winning matters. And as much as we say this is the last chance, and it is the last chance, but you don't get a last chance with 6 days often.
Right.
So there's 6 chances.
6 chances.
Well, 36 chances. This is a stretch. Like, it's a stretch for me at this point. But all you need to know is that there's plenty of room for these guys to kind of experiment, maybe make a couple of errors early on. And when we get to the later stages of phase number 2, this is where you gotta turn the heat up. But if you guys are watching on twitch.tv, do remember, you can drop your predictions down in the chat below. Let us know who you think is gonna make it by the end of this, and if the predictions come true, if you get all 6 teams right, I will personally figure something out in a bit.
Yeah. Here's my own kind of hot take. I think King of Gamers has what it takes to make it into that final 6.
I don't think it's a hot take, honestly.
I mean, I still say it's a hot take because it's still not definite yet. They're still outside of that by like 2 positions. But I know you seeing the level of skill that they had during phase 1, it just feels like if they had a much better start to that whole phase itself, perhaps we would have already, had seen them book their tickets to Jakarta at this point. But then now, as far as everyone else is concerned here, I think they have probably the best potential right now out of those who are in the second page to actually make it in that top 6. So that's my own take. What are yours? Let us know in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, and before we read your hot takes, we do have a very, very interesting rapid fire question video, so enjoy.
Mình cả hai.
Wake up early to play game.
Wake up early to play game.
Main bangun lebih awal main game.
Wake up early to play games.
Thức khuya để đọc sách.
No shower for a man.
No shower for man.
Gak mandi sebulan.
No shower for a man.
100 kali push up.
push up 100 kali lah. ยืดเถินครับ
100 push-ups.
100 push up.
Yoga class.
สังคมกับ PC
Live without AP.
Live without phone.
ใช้ชีวิตโดยไม่มีคอมได้เขาตัดไปไหนก็ได้เขาแค่คอมมันก็ต้องเล่นอยู่ที่บ้านอย่างเดียว
Mà từ Saki Em không bệnh
Không, em không muốn bệnh.
hãy mắt đi
Hidung pil.
เอาเป็นน้ำมูกดีกว่าครับ เพราะถ้าน้ำตาจะทำอะไรมองอะไรไม่ค่อยสะดวกมีแต่น้ำตาไหล
เจอหนูในห้องครัว
เจอหนูนี่หว่าพี่
Ôi, có chuột đi à?
ikuti dapur.
Ôi, nhiều bed.
3 เดือน
เพื่อนหนูดีกว่าครับไม่เอาครับมันน่าขยะแขยง
อินเทอร์เน็ตดิ
Lagi phone.
Lagging phone.
Handphone deh yang lag. Nggak apa-apa, yang penting internet bagus.
Leaky phone.
เพราะเน็ตแหลกดีกว่าครับก็หนักทั้งคู่อะ
Tình yêu đích thực.
Never run out of battery.
ไม่ติดรักแท้ครับ
มันมีอยู่แล้วไงพี่รักแท้อะ
Mình sẽ thà không xem TV trong vòng 1 năm à?
ผมเซนทีวีเอาหัวน้
ไม่มีทีวีปีหนึ่ง
Forever.
Forever alone.
Arrange marriage.
Arranged marriage.
Không cô đơn là không sống được rồi à? Hôn nhân sắp đặt cũng không được luôn nè. Mình phải tìm tình yêu cho chính mình.
We have some very, very interesting answers. Well, some of them I remember there was one question: do you want to have teary eyes for a week or runny nose? As someone who has experienced runny nose for a long time, it's not a good experience. I'll take runny, teary eyes any day. But we also kind of figure out which of these players have already found their true love.
I know, right?
With some really giga chat energies towards the end. Arranged marriage or being, single for the rest of your life. I feel that's a killer right there.
Literally, lady killer right there. And then even like the scholars as well, preferring to read the book, instead of waking up early to play games. I mean,
so you told me that you would rather not play games than not shower for a month.
oh, I cannot. Like, if you literally ask me to not shower for even like a week, I'm like, no way. Like, you cannot pay enough money for me to go through with that experience. Honestly, like, I mean, number one, of course, everybody knows the stereotype. Gamers and showers seem to not go together that well.
Yeah.
But then I really want to kind of like break that stereotype because not everyone. There are people who do care a lot about that personal hygiene.
Yeah.
Myself included.
Yeah, we gotta dispel that myth. We do shower.
Yes.
We probably shower more than the average people. I don't know.
I definitely shower before and after a show.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. They're pretty often.
Very often indeed. So
You actually sweat more than you thought when you play games, right? When things get really intense.
When things get intense, we're kind of like the outlet for that energy that all these players can put out on screen there. So if we don't sweat, that means that the player's not playing hard enough.
That is actually very true. I agree. It's gonna be a sweaty night for these players.
Oh, for sure.
Phase 2 has kicked off officially. We're going to Bermuda for game number 1. Again, these 12 teams would have to play against each other like a broken record for a total of 36 rounds across 6 days. Plenty to go around. And right off the bat, I think we've already seen a kind of like a early combat.
Yeah, so I think one thing is going to be very interesting to observe here is how these teams are going to adapt to this new sort of lineup where, the top teams are no longer here. The top kind of killers, especially the Thai squads, they're not going to be around to kind of like be a threat on the map anymore. So now because it's going to be everyone else here, I think it's going to be a lot more of seeing how these kind of teams adapt to the new information. They're going to be getting the new sort of like aggressiveness or lack of aggressiveness. Sometimes you can see there's certainly a lot of aggressiveness go around for Nero though. but unfortunately he gets knocked down for a close shot. Jembo taking out both Call and Aussie in the meantime. That's a fight against First Raiders there at the moment, happening outside of this one here, but DEWA continuing to try to hold their ground here. They still have the man advantage against MTH, though. They just need to be able to knock down another one here. They will probably be able to win this one out. Unfortunately, DEWA had to lose 2 of their members, though, so that leaves Renz and Rain now trying to stabilize this fight.
It's going to be pretty tough for DEWA United Esports because their fallen players are so far in the front lines. There's no way to recover them, so Renz has to kind of make something happen. MDH, on the other hand, has the liberty, has the luxury to bring Nero back up. Hong An will also be given the same treatment, so DEWA United taking an early L, losing already Virus, who is gone. Bams is also out. DEWA United left with 2.
Yeah, they managed to get a knockdown. Now Renz is trying to peel out of this fight. Unfortunately, Don't Cry catches him just as he got out of the house. Now he's forced to fight. Unfortunately, standing his ground didn't quite work out for him, though, as he will get eliminated in quick succession here. DEWA, fortunately, do have an insurance, though. I think another member of them managed to escape the fight right now, so allowing it's going to be Bams, actually, who just revived just in time for this. And Rain is still on the ground as well, so he's allowing DEWA to come back this fight, though, after losing that one to MDH there, they're surely going to be a bit behind.
This really feels like the very first game of phase number 1, where the moment the teams drop, it is just full-on gunfight. We saw Farang having members taken out. Axis, they did lose Neptune early on, but he was also revived. Just a lot of skirmishes happening. You kind of see Expand also making that early move, but they are pinned. Unfortunately, Roy getting spotted out by Anxiety at Rimnam Village, completely alone. There is a high-tier loot zone, but that's also where Anxiety loves to head towards. So Expand should be expecting this one.
Should have been expecting that one there for sure. And Expand yet again going for a more split strategy there, and we only see one member on ground in the port there, which is kind of a bad spot to be caught out in. Meantime, Flash lost a couple of members on the ground at the moment. King of Game is trying to get a good trade from this fight here, but you got Yanbin still stuck around the outside there, not looking likely that King of Game is going to be letting him go anytime soon. But we see Bloody also trying to make a maneuver around the side of King of Game, is almost getting caught out there as Osaka spots him on the hillside. Now he's going to be giving chase here to Shin, see whether or not he can cut off the rest of Flash before they make that flank. But frankly, I think Flash has already lost quite a bit in this fight right now. He will surely be able to bring back Yanbin. I'm not sure about Bao, probably a little bit later down the line there, but surely this might be a good opportunity for them to just peel out this battle and not pursue it anymore.
We actually saw a lot of Flash on that kill feed, right? Whether they're getting takedowns or not. KOG, though, having a dream start. 4 eliminations. They did lose 1 member, but that should be easily taken care of. Just go to that buy point vending machine and get him back. Farang also getting 3 for themselves, but they did suffer 2 losses in the process. That's a buy point right there for Zhenbao, so no problem. Everything is going to be A-okay. Now we kind of get that break in between. The teams finally decided, you know, we're going to slow down. Can't really say the same for VGM. You know, they might run into Sem9. These 2 teams are literally in first and second, and Sem9 will be the first one that takes contact.
Oh, that's a good one there, though. By Sem9 taking a little knockdown there temporarily onto Ban, but he managed to get himself back up. Yeah, he got a revive shot just in time there, so that he was able to put up the glue walls to defend himself. But a Global is going to be able to catch him there. Newbie with a hand of God there, ensuring that Ban is not going anywhere anytime soon. VGM now completely tied up in this fight now. Can Sem9 find even more knockdowns on its side? As they manage to catch out Vantan, trying to use the glue wall, prevent the momentum of the bike, knocking him over, but the shots are still coming true. Vantan is on the ground now. VGM still have 2 remaining, but they're going to be met by another member of Sem9 who's just outside on the blue zone.
I think VGM have to try to fight their way out. There is no way to escape from this crunch. It's gotta rely on brute force, but they've expanded so much of that utility. Those bonfires being thrown on as well is ring around the rosy alongside this one lone blue wall, with Victory having the health advantage, and he's gonna get that final knockout. VGM not having a start for themselves.
I mean, did bonfires even stack to begin with? Like, why put down 3? I mean, let alone 2. So, oh my goodness, that probably did not work out for the best there for VGM, but it was definitely a desperate time. But Anxiety now comes into the fray there, hearing the shots coming to the north of them from that high-tier loot zone. Now they're going to be coming in to see if they can pick up some scraps, but no, the glue wall came on a little bit too close there, forgot to be. Fortunately, he was able to put the time turner just in time to keep himself alive there, but now he's going to be stuck on the outside. Zen-OP now moving in with the motorcycle, getting a knockdown on one of the members of Anxiety, now trying to stabilize this as he picks up Newbie. Raja continuing to try to shoot on here, trying to keep the rest of Anxiety away from his teammates now, but we're already seeing knockdowns coming onto Anxiety's side. Sem9 further on, continuing to try to keep themselves in this fight.
I think this fight is done for Anxiety. They have no way of winning this one, but Sem9, you thought that they don't have time to recover, but it didn't feel like it mattered, right? After the fight against VGM, they just took out Anxiety. Huge props to Newbie though. We saw that nade fly over Toby's head, but it was aiming for Kanoho the entire time. That kind of felt like a cinematic shot from the Matrix even. But Sem9 having the absolute dream start. This is the roster that we criticized so much in the recent major, the Season 4 major. And they got a little roster swap. They bring back the OG Sem9 roster, mixed in a bit with, with Fikri, mixed it in with, I believe, Raja and Fikri. And right now, they look like the most solid team to start off this round.
I mean, it certainly makes sense for them to try to go aggressive for the first round. I mean, they do have a significant lead over everyone else. It's just V Gaming Esports that they're really trying to race against when it comes to this championship here. So it's really good that now they've already dispatched like 2 squads in a row now.
One of them was V Gaming, right?
Yeah.
That's the team in the second place.
Exactly. So really, this is as good as a start you can basically hope for. Now the thing is whether or not to be able to sustain this kind of momentum in the future rounds. But nevertheless, it seems like Bermuda just might be the ticket here for Sem9 to extend their lead.
You love seeing it as a Sem9 fan. It take them a while, but just remember, 3 months ago, Sem9 was one of the most underperforming teams in the region, at least locally. But right now, they do look like the favorites, or at least the most dominant one to kick off. It's early to say though, we still have so much more days to go through, but if Sem9 can keep this up, just even get those average points per round, I think you would see them in Jakarta, and that would be a big boost to some of these players who have always came so close but not make it to the finishing line.
Yeah, at least it is the second phase here, so there's still another shot here for Sem9. It seems like they're making the most of this opportunity here. Expand has already regrouped, and now they're currently in the siege against Heavy in this the north of Pochinok. And now we can see Expand trying to move into a new position here before Heavy decides to send troubles their way, forcing them now to turn around in here and see whether or not they can catch Heavy before they decide to make the move. Unfortunately, Heavy already has Tom XT up in the next floor here, trying to see if he can get a high ground advantage against Expand here, and hopefully give enough information here for Heavy to coordinate their movements. But for now, Expand does have a much more spread out positioning though, so they are certainly going to be able to meet anyone that decides to come out into the field. This means that Heavy has to play the hide and seek game.
Heavy knows a lot of where Expand is. Thanks to me now, he is peeking through that window. Saw a couple members of Expand, but on the other end, DEWA United runs into Axis. And Axis, they're just getting a wipeout right now. 3 members of DEWA United already down with Virus, the last one alive, and he is quickly dispatched, deleted from the system. Axis gets a 4 elimination streak.
Yeah, that especially hurts for DEWA though, because remember they had to revive half the team back after losing their fight to MDH. So this is just further kicking them back onto the curb now. So looks like it's going to be next round for DEWA United to see if they can pick up the pace yet again. King of Gamers have just sustained a knockdown onto Kevin there. So 3 members of King of Gamers now scrambling to try to see if they can spot out the rest of Flash. They do have the high ground in this case though, but not so much in terms of information, at least when it comes to Flash, because they're using this terrain to their advantage here. Shin unfortunately had to run a little bit on the outside because the blue zone's already close on the warehouse where he was waiting. At the moment, BO sends a trouble, doesn't
Nice
quite
time
meet
turner.
it. Good timing on that time turner there, so that allowed King of Gamers to continue sustaining this fight. But the BO's already made it up to the top. They've already got another knockdown onto Oscar now. Kevin is now back into the fight, but then he's facing so much pressure from all directions. He gets the second knockdown now with Shin taking the shot.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2 versus 2. King of Gamers, Osaka right to the target. Bio goes down. Shin also taken out. It's going to be Scar to kind of clean out Oscar. Saving KOG, keeping them in the round. And the best part is Kevin, most likely, even if he goes down, will be revived. 8 points so far for KOG. Heavy on the other end, finally engaging with Expand. It feels like Expand is the one that decided to take the first move, first point of contact. Me now goes down to Roy with the Charge Buster in hand. And this is not going to be easy. On the other hand, Neptune Axis, who just finished off DEWA United Esports, runs into MDH, and Neptune loses the first contact. They did get a trade with Flame taking down Nuke, but Heavy and Expanse fights continue. They were able to bring me now back up. Roy running in with the Charge Buster, blocked by a good glue wall. Heavy saving their fortress, at least for now, but Expand looking to continue that assault.
Yeah, I wanted to see exactly what's going on with Axis right now because, they won the fight earlier on against DEWA. Now with MDH, just coming to their position here, they really are looking for a fight. We got King of Gamers Gamers also getting to the mix as well. So this is getting very crowded right now on the eastern side of this circle. In the meantime, the fight still continuing between Heavy and Expand as they seem to have them locked up on the outside here. The glue walls just literally piling on top of each other here, making layered defense. And right now, Expand just spending a lot of these glue walls trying to keep Heavy on their toes here. Heavy force as well to put out Budai on the outside there, trying to bring shots, but the glue walls not making it easy at all for him to acquire targets. But then right now, with another knockdown there, the Heavy Expand might just have the man advantage, but they need to extend it even more. Unfortunately, they had to take a bit of a breather right now to get the healing in, but they gotta watch out because King of Gamers still lurking around. They definitely are hearing these gunshots. They know a fight is breaking out. Now they just need to see who's gonna win it out. Is it Heavy or Expand?
And they are all running dry. We saw so much glue walls. Budai actually has 10 more glue walls with him. As first rated, Eclipse will be out. Heavy sustaining a lot of injury thanks to KOG sniping them from long range. Budai deciding that this fight is done and dusted. Expand only good for 3, but 3 is enough for the price of so much resources. I feel like the eventual winner to a certain extent is Heavy because they still have some utilities in the back. They're just gonna get away from this compound, whereas for Expand, able to snipe Oscar from afar, Cobra, making sure the KOG gets the message to not interfere. Expand still keeping 3 of them alive.
I'm really interested to see what FARANG is planning here because they still have 2 members left and they're just literally on opposite ends of the circle. So I'm thinking they're trying to go for a very ninja-like strat here to try to make it to that final circle and probably go for placement points. Good shot there by JLX to take out that last member of KOG. So now, sorry, not KOG there. But then we'll see how he's going to continue on here as we ride aboard with Cobra from Expand. Now remember, they were down to 3, now they're down to 2 here, losing 2 fast somewhere in that process.
KOG, they're slowly encroaching on this compound. Good shot into Buffalo. Exo covering the flank, giving Cobra a lot more breathing space to work with. Heavy still in the game. You have Semnai in the circle, but they can easily gatekeep this one. Budai on the ground as well. Meanwhile, the last one alive. He cannot retrieve his teammate, and he knows that all these windows are basically death zones. Thankfully for Budai, he was able to get himself back up on his feet with Expand. Still kind of searching this building, trying to look for the last remnants of Heavy. This could end up in both teams sustaining heavy injuries. Cobra, he's out in the open. He wants to get to safety. But meanwhile, he leaves himself behind and gets an easy pickoff.
Yeah, he's definitely going for placement now, given that he is the last member of Heavy still alive. The next circle is going to be quite a bit close to him, actually. So might actually be in his interest to try to find that last member of Expand, because the Axel is now making a break for it. He has him on the side. Can he get a shot?
What?
Yes, he does. No, he does
Just
not.
KOG.
He got kicked out by KOG, who spotted him from the outside. So that third party that KOG was setting up finally paid off there as they eliminate Heavy from the scene.
Sem9 and Axis, the only 2 squads with the whole team alive. KOG is a 3 versus 4 scenario. It feels like they have to get through the kind of the barricade of Axis first, unless Axis runs to Sem9. But with how the circle is, I think Axis will take contact.
No.
Flame, good one. The prone shot out of sight, and they will now push KOG. How do they respond though? All those grenades getting thrown out. KOG running for the hills, running for safety in the building. They do make it in, but now it puts themselves in the center with Sem9 just overseeing everything that is happening. You love to see this as an MCP fan with Sem9 and Axis in the top 3. Zen OP goes down. Kevin gets a shot. Elimination. Sem9 14 on the board and still going.
Yeah, this was putting their weight on the thumb there in that fight between KOG and Axis. So now Axis has a bad advantage now, but then they unfortunately also spot Sem9 at the same time. So they're going to have to fight a fight on 2 fronts here. Grenade's going to come. Is it going to land on JJ? Not quite. Just lands outside on the blue zone there. Newbie trying to find a good angle here. Not able to find a way to keep Axis suppressed. But KOG down to 2 members. They're extremely under pressure now, knowing that they really want Axis to just continue to fight Sem9 while they continue to stay out of trouble. But now we do see Kevin trying to make a move from the outside. He's going to get spotted by Neptune, who sends a trouble his way. Kevin now falling back to the defenses here. But then now we are in the final phase here, boys. The last circle, and look at the stack that Axis is trying to do. They're trying to get on the high ground here just so they can continue to fight against M9.
Sem9, best possible position right now. The glue wall mountain will expire very soon, but it does prevent Axis from setting up shop in the open ground. And look at Sem9 eating up so much of the space. Axis getting shot at. KOG forced to fight their way for survival. This is just an unfavorable fight for the teams, aside from Sem9, who are now pushing that advantage. They're running into both Axis and KOG. Fikri taking first contact. Neptune now against JLX, but Neptune wins. Vegeta somehow takes down Fikri. Axis might have a good chance. They've evened the playing field. Fikri not able to be retrieved. Raja also now in combat, but he was able to win that one now against Vegeta as Axis gets knocked out. KOG to follow, and Sam9 with 16 eliminations gets the booyah to kick off phase 2.
Well, just like that, they are going to be extending their lead so far, and you know, the extra cherry on top was the fact that they eliminated V-Gaming Esports very early on during this round, so that's a lot of points that V-Gaming was not able to get during this round itself, so Sam9 very much solidly keeping themselves in position 1.
What happens when you put the OG Sam9 and a bit of X-Geek fam together? You get this super roster, and I think this is gonna make the narrative so much interesting, right? We talked about Expand being the super team of the region, and right now Sam9 comes in after a minor reshuffle since the last major, and here they are kind of outclassing a lot of the teams that we have, at least in phase number 2. But that opening is going to make everyone happy.
Oh, for sure. I mean, now we very solidly established a new pecking order after already having removed the top 6 from the first phase. So now with Sam9 solidly getting that booyah here, I wonder whether or not V-Gaming Esports will have a better reply coming into the next map here, which is going to be Kalahari. But nevertheless, with King of Gamers as well getting themselves in that final circle, what I say, they do have that opportunity now to really chase for that the final 6 to get to Jakarta, and we'll want to see whether or not they can finally get those booyahs, because if that's the only way, I feel that they will be able to solidify this momentum that they currently have.
Yeah, we have a slugfest of a game number 1 with just skirmish in the first 5 minutes. I felt like we didn't even get to catch a break, right? I thought we had downtime, but we clearly overlooked the fact that a lot of teams were dying in the background. Sam9 though, one of the most explosive starts that we've seen. 2 fights in a row, getting all of the eliminations, and this post that they got in the final circle was just sublime. It really felt like it was their round to lose, and they finished it in a flawless fashion. 28 points to kick off the night. KOG also not too shabby. 14 points, 14 eliminations for them, and a second place finish gives them 23. And that is the good round that we're looking for KOG. But I mean, the Malaysian team somehow are lining up in the first page. Axis in 3rd, Expand in 4th, FARANG in 5th, and Heavy to close out the first page in 6th place.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy actually looking now at the second page to see that V-Gaming Esports got 0 points overall in this first round itself. So Sam9 not only kind of like limited chances for them to kind of like chip away the lead, but just practically gave them nothing at all. Yeah. Nothing to even eat on, nothing to chew even.
Yeah, 28 points extra
exactly.
for Sam9, right? V-Gaming Esports definitely feeling the heat after this game. If they look at the leaderboard and look at how much Sam9 got in game 1, I think a part of you, if you're on V-Gaming Esports, would feel really sour on how that ended. So that was your chance to maybe not overtake Sam9, maybe keep yourself in the race, but it feels like this rug race right now is slipping out of V-Gaming Esports' hands.
Yeah, so especially for the squads coming from Vietnam, this is going to be a real test of their might right now in this phase, because now that we don't really have to, they don't really have to compete against their nearest neighbor, which is Thailand here, save for King of Gamers. We're also seeing them in this first round itself kind of having middling performances. You know, V-Gaming Esports, of course, getting limited early on. We didn't see much of them during this match here, but we saw plenty of Sam9, and I like what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I like this team. I think they've received, you know, very constructive heat in the first 2 weeks, and I think it's very reasonable judging by how Sam9 has had this very drastic slump. But now it's fair to say that the revival of Sam9 might have already been taking place for a while. What an explosive game number 1. I think Sam9 as an organization would be really happy. I think when they joined freefire, I believe this year they had one of the best start, and you see this very drastic drop, kind of like the economic Great Depression, but right now stocks for Sam9 are going way up to the top.
I wonder what's going to be Free Fire's equivalent of inflation. That's going to be hitting massively next year, now that I think about it. Anyways, economic troubles aside here, ladies and gentlemen, there's definitely no trouble at all for these top squads right now, because a new pecking order has been established. Sam9 currently having a massive lead here, taking 28 points, while V-Gaming had 0 at all. So there's going to be a mammoth effort here from V-Gaming from Vietnam to figure out how exactly they want to try to punish Sam9 in these future rounds. But again, that's going to be to the future, isn't it?
Yeah, some of these teams started phase 2 on that first page, and you know, we had expectations that they would keep it, but apparently not. You know, teams that are on the second page, like Axis Esports, this is one of the teams that was kind of fish food for the first 2 weeks, and they got a pretty decent round in themselves. But this is just the beginning of the night, you know, don't get your hopes up. Maybe VGM would come back swinging. We still have 5 more rounds this evening, but we will first go for a short break and we will return for game number 2.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Galaxy Z Fold 4, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Look at my shine with the glow. This is my time with it though. This is my time to be way at the top. Me and my guys gon' pay out the block. I don't look like boss. Time's right, and I know they see us walking in the limelight. Promise you gon' wanna watch like a sci-fi. My guys are high risers, high tide. My crown if you come to my side. I pledge allegiance for lifetime. My squad connected like Wi-Fi. We grind and you see the highlights. This my life. It ain't a game now. Me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way. You wasn't invited. Say you come to play. I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me. Then step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Game now, me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way, you wasn't invited. Say you come to play. I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me. Then step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way.
Hello, and welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, powered by Samsung Galaxy. My name is Victor Cax. Joining me here is Husky. We're going to be bringing you guys round number 2 now of the bottom 12. Can we call them that? Really?
I mean, come on, Victor. Sure, yes, they're bottom 12. I agree.
But it sounds kind of bad.
It sounds kind of bad. The remaining 12, I don't know, it sounds equally bad. But we have 12 teams left. You know, we have already sent 6 of them to Jakarta by the end of last week. So 12 more teams will have to fight for the remaining 6 spots. And they have 6 days to do it. This is just day number 1. Let's take a look at the updated standings after round number 1, where Sem9 came out the gate swinging for 28 points. Now it puts them in a very solid first place, 147.5. V-Gaming Esports didn't even get to play the game, so they still remain in second, 118. Expand moving up to third place, KOG shooting up to 4th, MDH tying with them, and FARANG remains in 6th place.
Yeah, I mean, FARANG actually tried to do something kind of interesting there, but it seemed that it did not work out in that first round. Let's see whether or not round number 2 is going to work out better for them. But then for King of Gamers Club, they certainly have been making that climb there. So early on, they were in top 8. Now they're in top 4 here, just mixing it up together with Expand and MDH. Expand as well, you know, really trying to get themselves into that final circle. Didn't quite make it all the way, though, because got kind of a bit cut short in that journey. But then now, you know, with King of Gamers Club already starting to catch up to that points list there, maybe they might start to worry a little bit about their positioning in this overall standings here.
Yeah, you know, sometimes we joke about this team can just not play one round and they'll still be fine. The V-Gaming Esports, technically, you know, if you don't look at game 1 and what happened, they had nothing and they are still in 2nd place, which means that they actually started phase number 2 with a very substantial lead, right? They did super well in phase number 1, but right now there's no more time to relax. They have expanded that free get out of jail card. It's back to the grind for V-Gaming Esports.
Yeah, I think very likely, you know, V-Gaming is going to very much want to see where they can punish Sem9, you know, for literally eliminating them early on in the map. They would certainly want to try to do the same to Sem9 in the next few rounds here, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But nevertheless, though, for the rest of the squads here, Axis Esports, despite getting a lot of kills, were not able to upgrade themselves too far up, though, because they're still being pushed down by some of the other squads here. First Raiders still managed to put enough points there to keep themselves ahead. Team Flash as well, kind of getting themselves into that mix there. So still a lot of work there, I think, for the boys from Axis.
Yeah, definitely a lot. Same for Anxiety, who there is a small gap between them and Axis as well. So they need a lot more push than our other teams. But first of all, we gotta thank our partner that is powering the entire thing, and that is Samsung Galaxy. They welcome to the family. I think that's. I hope I could give a warmer welcome, but you know, it's great to have them with us. I think this is a great journey so far. We've been doing this for what, more than 6 months, I think. It's season 2, and it's great to have Samsung Galaxy be a part of this journey.
I wonder how it's going to be like to play the Fold 4, you know, using freefire.
Yeah, actually, yes. I've been wondering that as well. I've some friends who you know are big fans of Samsung, and I also use Samsung, and the performance crisp so far.
I know.
But on a Fold phone, you know, on a Fold 4, that is something that I would love to explore one day.
I would just imagine just having more screen real estate really allows more space for you to just kind of customize controls even further. I mean, you can even go for a 3-finger setup, you know, practically, because it's now a lot more easier for you to just kind of get the hand position, isn't it?
Took me a long time. I've been practicing your 3-4 finger gyro, but even up to today, I still do not understand how people can hold their phones and play with 4 fingers. The only 4 fingers I know is the fried chicken that I like.
I thought it's 5 fingers.
No, it's 4 fingers.
Huh.
We're talking about 5 guys. 5 guys, that's burger.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, we have 5 more rounds to go. We're going into round number 2.
That math checks out.
Checks out. Almost. And then try to make it rhyme, but unfortunately we're at 2. We're not at 3. I would have done 3, 4, 5. Number 3 coming up. There we go. Saved it.
Yeah, let's go. So now we're very much going to be dropping into Kalahari now, and we're already seeing shots coming out here. MDH taking control. Refinery very early on, and they're trying to just keep expanding. First Raiders out of the way there, but First Raiders sustaining a bit of casualties right now as Expand continues to try to scan out and regroup now to see whether or not they can keep the fight going onto them. Dizzy forced to bring out the time turner as X-Roy pushes him very hard in front there. Whoa, getting himself eliminated there early on, and that's back to the lobby there for the squad.
Yeah, definitely not the start that First Raiders were looking for. And I think MDH also learned a lesson today, which is if you played Refinery, challenging Farang directly might not be the best choice. They did get a knockdown to Jembao though, but don't cry. What do you have left in the tank? Nothing. No health, no help. MDH still in the game, but they had to take a big fat L.
That was a very awkward landing there by Jembo. It looked like he was actually stuck mid-air for a good while there. Like, he literally couldn't move from that position, and that caused him to get knocked down. I wonder whether it's because of some interaction with that grapple gun. It's kind of something that would be worth investigating, I think.
Suspended in time.
Oh, yeah, I mean, time turners and chronos literally a thing here, so perhaps, you know, I would love to see more kind of like characters that actually utilize the time mechanic, you know, in this game.
You know, I just want to say that Nero has a not good luck. Thankfully, he revived his entire team before he went down. You know, he did what he should needed to do. Team Flashes decided to drop by with 2 guys and ambush him. One of the more bad start for MDH, and it's not getting any better because after reviving, now they just encountered DEWA United, and Huang Art is down. Don't cry. Does have a weapon, but no utilities. And Hawk Nuke got found as well. This is just going from bad to worse for MDH.
Because you have to consider, as soon as they get revived, they don't actually carry forward any of the equipment they found early on. They literally have to just go with whatever they find on the ground here, and just getting caught out by another team that's already fully farmed. That's literally worst case scenario here for MDH. Can they fight themselves out of this little rut here as Virus breaks down the blue walls behind, tries to find a way to get past here, but then unfortunately has to play Ring Around the Rosies through the door. But don't cry, takes him down with just a sliver of health left, but unfortunately cannot escape the raids of Casemiro, rather the raids of DEWA United here. Ooh, finally getting them out of the map here, and looks like MDH is going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, the cavalry arrived just in time. It was a revival point at Foundation. I felt like if Don't Cry won that one, he would had a bit of time to at least run away or get his team back, but MDH, not a start that they were looking for, and definitely not what they needed right now in this circumstance.
Yeah, Sem9 looking like they're going to be going for more, slightly more slower start here, not going for those early game engages. It seems like they're very much focused on the final phase of this game, it looks like, given that they've already done all the groundwork in round number 1. So now it's just a matter of trying to make sure they can extend that lead even further from VGM here, who we haven't really seen them get into much trouble so far. In fact, VGM at the moment seem to be just confined within confinement at this point here, and not really having any incentive to move, because the circle literally is just splitting confinement in half.
That was a very important knockout for DEWA United Esports as well, because MDH, by the end of round 1, were in 5th place, and they had a 5-point advantage over DEWA United. Now that has been thrown out the window. So very, very crucial wipeout. MDH, they will have plenty of time, around 15 minutes, to kind of talk about Purgatory that's coming up next. And Farang, a team that was in 6th place and still is in 6th place after the first match with those 3 eliminations, and the unfortunate elimination of MDH. Farang now has a chance to kind of push themselves up the leaderboard.
Yeah, so they're really trying to just use this opportunity with the red zone being all over Refinery here. They're just going to try to take up the empty space right now and hopefully gain control of a very important point here in Kalahari, which will certainly give maximum chances, especially when it comes to that final circle. And time again, we've always seen that final circle always involve Refinery in some form or another. So just taking that high ground there is certainly an absolute importance for some squads here. Expand in the meantime, though, just going to be taking things very, very methodically at the moment. Last round didn't quite work out the way they expected, though they did manage to net a decent haul of points and eliminations to boot. Now they're going to be seeing whether or not they'll be catching any teams trying to make their way to their specific revive point here. But given that they are smack dab in that middle of the circle, I think it's just basically trying to see where that next circle lands up, and if they hedge their bets really right, maybe that next circle might be closer to Refinery than we might expect here, and that will actually put them in a very solid position.
Definitely love what Expand is doing way more than just splitting up as individuals. I think Expand functions really good as a team, but one of the criticisms that lately was that Expand, spread out a lot, and this always results in them starting on the back foot. Now we see that very solid hold at command post early on, I believe against First Raiders, but let's see if KOG can hold off against Team Flash, who kind of have a part of this compound surrounded, and Oscar will have to hold on to the spot to keep the rest of his team informed of where Flash is.
Yeah, the thing is, Kevin's quite far back. I wonder if he's going to be having a line of sight there actually to deal with Flash as soon as they start to attack. Oscar is feeding plenty of information for his team though, so at least they are aware about where the movements are. Oh, a flashbang comes out. Oscar knows that he's under pressure now as Shin runs into the room. Now looks at the second floor. He sees one of the members of KOG up there. Doesn't quite pursue him quite yet. Yenbin now up on the second floor. Gets spotted by Oscar. Oscar forced to bring out a glue wall. Puts up two of them. Thankfully able to cut off the rest of Flash. Now he jumps out the window, able to regroup with his teammates now, but very much so because Flash takes over the building while King of Gamers just empties out. So now it's going to be a bit of a reversal here as Flash is now the one under siege, but they just have to depend on their last member who is still lone wolf on the outside there, trying to interrupt them. But then King of Gamers now very much solidly focused on trying to take out the rest of Flashes inside the building here. Osaka forced to come out there with a freezing grenade, actually keeps him under pressure. Yenbin now rejoins the fray here, trying to break through the glue walls and trying to see if he can get a good shotgun, get someone in shotgun range there in order to get a knockdown. Now Shin breaks down the glue wall with his sword, now turns around, sees a Flash is just literally taking over the building here. King of Gamers now stuck on the outside trying to fight here. Shin using burning out whatever glue walls he has in his hands now to keep King of Gamers away.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Kevin decided to join in. I thought that he would let KOG do the damage and go for the revive, but apparently KOG decided to commit entirely to this fight. And it felt like it is a grave mistake. KOG had no chance in the beginning, not when Team Flash plays like this. 5 eliminations and a knockout on the KOG. And I thought that KOG, they did well, right? They did well to hold back Team Flash with this crunch. Thought that there's a contingency plan for Kevin to bring his team back with a revival zone nearby, but the commitment towards the tail end was quite questionable.
Well, the thing is that King of Gamers very much committed hard, you know, to just rush the building. So I think that immediately put the positioning that we saw King of Gamers in was, that we saw Flash in kind of awkward because like they literally had one member a little bit too far away. So I think it was actually better for them to actually regroup inside the building itself and try to meet King of Gamers. But then again, hindsight is 2020 though, and that's kind of the advantage of just using these kind of rush strats. You kind of can sometimes catch and punish bad positioning.
Yeah, and King of Gamers, unfortunately, despite that great start, now it will be back to the lobby. There's a lot to be kind of talked about for KOG, but for Flash, this is a good round for them. A good start at least. They need a couple of points to squeeze in the top 6. FARANG still holding on kind of the proximity of Refinery. This is what we've been seeing for, what, close to a year now? This is FARANG's stronghold. Yeah. They should, I think FARANG owns Refinery. They have 100% stock of this building.
Yeah, I mean, they ran there very early on while the danger zone was still on top of Refinery. Now that it's already cleared off, they are already having a good position on top of the platform here to keep an eye out for a lot of people attempting to approach this zone. No less Heavy, who is coming in from the southern side. They do have a cliffside face there to use as a bit of cover, but then sooner or later, FARANG will be able to spot them out. So the question is, how will they try to approach the Refinery here, knowing that they already have plenty of players here on the nest? Spade having a sniper's rifle, he's definitely going to be able to see anyone who decides to get even within a meter's range of the Refinery here. In the meantime, DEWA is also camping towards the western side. They also are a little bit wary about just going down out into the open field there, knowing that a team could possibly be camped up inside Refinery itself. And with Spade, you know, just providing the cover from the top of the tower there, can certainly see that things are going to be kind of interesting now that, in this case, FARANG now is technically the gatekeeper because the next circle lands way outside the Refinery.
And this circle is one of the few dangerous ones. It's just right out in the open with a lot of concrete road in between as well. It's kind of an intersection, a junction, you know, for a battlefield. Heavy under fire. VGM also taking a couple of shots from Sem9 earlier on, but Heavy will have to be a priority for Sem9. Okay. Not much space to work within this compound. And can be safe for Heavy, but Fikri, a good knock from long range, that's going to buy a bit of time. Something that Heavy needs to be careful about. Sem9 so far looking sharp.
Indeed, sharp shots there coming from them, and now that's putting Heavy under even more pressure. because Expand is also moving onto their position here, so they might actually catch Heavy in a bit of a pincer motion. Together with Sem9, if Sem9 decides to commit to that fight, but I think they're more interested in trying to keep the siege here. In the meantime, we see a couple members of Team Flash now making their way to Refinery, so FARANG is going to have to turn tail and fight here. Another squad coming in from the northern side. BO already setting up camp here with a glue wall, sends some throwables up onto the platforms here, trying to flush out any members of FARANG who's still attempting to try to use the sniper spot. Spade now trying to do his good work here with the sniper rifle, providing overwatch for everyone else in his squad now on the ground. Jezebel is struggling and trying to find a good base of fire. He's going to have to rapidly reposition himself. Good trouble being sent down. Yanbin under massive pressure. Now he's half down his health. Bayo is attempting to try to find another flank, but cannot really spot the other members of FARANG. And Norada doesn't quite get a clear shot because the rest of FARANG just wrapping around Jembal and Jezebel are trying to fight them man-to-man, head-to-head here. A glue wall is going to be brought up to prevent them from being able to use the access tunnel in between these platforms here, and that's forcing Flash to use the long way around. Jezebel now gets caught out in the middle of that glue wall maze, and then Flash is trying to see if they can find the other member of FARANG here, trying to break down some of those glue walls, trying to clear the site. The site is going to be brought out. Oh, but then Bayo catches him just in the nick of time.
What was that attempt? The idea was good, but not in this situation. FARANG out because of that. Team Flash executing these rush so well. First we saw them do it against KOG, and now they took out FARANG with this exact same move. They're gonna try and bring Bloody back up though. They are taking damage from the blue zone, and unfortunately they couldn't do so in time. Bloody will be out. But on the other side, DEWA United kind of in a rat fight against Axis, and unfortunately from long range is VGM punishing both of them as Axis starts to drop like flies. Sem9 watching all of this unfold from afar. Flame is basically red on the ground. Axis barely crawling into the safe zone, but only with Neptune.
Yeah, Neptune, last member still standing. DEWA can easily gatekeep him, but then right now they got bigger concerns here because he's about to bump into Sem9, who have been camping there for a very long time, and in fact will be gatekeeping them going into that final circle. Vickery now trying to reposition himself. Axis Esports, they got themselves spot out. Neptune dies at the hands of Renz, so that will be DEWA just gatekeeping them from that final fight, but now they're going to have to turn around and fight Sem9 instead. VGM in the meantime taking the high ground in this fight against Anxiety here, forcing Anxiety to try to get some good scope shots here. They do have a good sniper rifle that does provide plenty of range, but they need to wait for VGM to literally pop the hits above that cliff in order to get a clear shot.
And this is the important one. Sem9 newbie, the first one to go down, and Vickery also under immense pressure as DEWA United decides to go for the rush right now. Can they get it through? Rajan Zen putting numbers on the belt. Virus and Rain, the last two remaining, but Zen OP swings the corner for a kill, and DEWA United falls. Sem9 have just slain the gods again.
Yeah, unfortunately they lose Newbie, and Vickery might be in danger too, so they're gonna have to get the revive on him sooner, but I think he's on the outside, making it a little bit hard.
Oh, he's back up.
Yeah, he's already back up, so despite taking a little bit of damage there, they are not the full squad now. It's gonna be Heavy that actually is gonna be the full squad going to that final circle, and Expand loses X-Roy on the outside. There's Heavy, shoots them while they attempt to try to rush Anxiety, and this is gonna be perfect for Heavy because now they just not only thin the herd a little bit, but they also are putting extra pressure onto Anxiety here, who are currently getting ganked. Oh, Jaboiwa literally tried to jump away to escape, but just lands into the hands of Sem9.
And now Expand finds themselves out in the open. Not much to work with though. VGM pressuring them from this high ground. You can see that the amount of glue walls being put up. Zenop does have a grenade launcher in his hands. Team Flash out in the meantime as Yanbin spires to the blue zone. 4 teams remain, and most of them are still very healthy with all 4 members alive, but can't say the same for Expand, who are literally running into the center, but that means that they make themselves very, very clear targets for the rest of the squads as VGM. They are playing this so well. Hug the blue zone, hug the circumference, the grenade coming through from above, not enough to take down Boite as VGM finally claims their spot in the center. Zen OP from nowhere gets a kill on the Buffalo too fast and a good nail to Boite, but Expand, they need to push a bit harder.
Yeah, that was a good grenade there from Sem9. I think that actually knocked them down. Expand now still continuing to try to make them move towards the center of this circle, but they had to burn a lot of glue walls on the way. Too Fast is already out of glue walls. He's going to have to try to hold it as long as he can. Sem9 in the meantime though gets caught out by Cobra on the side, so now it's going to be versus Expand and VGM. This one member Heavy though, he's staying out of the fight so far. Bingsu now very far forward. Vantan is rushing all the way towards Expand now. The glue wall blaster is going to be brought out. Vantan's going to try to get some knockdowns here with his shotgun, but he's the one that gets knocked down instead. The Axel is going to try to hold the fight here, but Cobra too fast, gives himself rapidly taken out. Milnow getting into the fight as well, shooting from a distance, using the scope rifle, trying to get some extra elimination points here.
He
but
might
he
get
probably might not expect that he's going to be one of the few remaining players in this final circle, so he's trying to fight against the others, but he doesn't make it though. Boite cuts him down, the Axel cuts him down as well, but it's going to be VGM this time that takes the booyah.
Yeah, 1 versus 1 deathmatch. Boite, first one to be seen on the silver screen and the last one standing. This is what they needed after a round 1 catastrophe. It felt like the script coming full circle for VGM. Now they're back in the race.
Indeed they are. But the thing is that with Sem9 also being able to join them in that final circle, I think even with this booyah, V Gaming Esports still going to have a lot of work still in store for them in order to try to chip away at that lead. But good one so far. Good reply. Very, very solid here, especially against Sem9.
Yeah, and also a good round for Expand, you know, making it into the final circle. Honestly, they were the ones under the most pressure from the other teams, but VGM, you know, making the call to kind of rush Expand, almost got severely punished. I just want to give credit to me now, this cheeky little guy from Heavy. Could have won the entire round, but came really close to doing so. Nonetheless, this is the kind of free fire matches that we love to see in VGM. They just happen to be able to string through enough, you know, damage to kind of pull themselves over the finishing line.
I mean, I gotta have to imagine the amount of patience Milnow had to have there, just wait for the knockdowns to start coming in before finally revealing his position. But, you know, given the timing that he decided to enter the fight there, he very well could have been he could have been the one to take the booyah there. He have just taken down Boite, but, you know, the Axel was the one who actually got the shot onto him there. So it's a bit unfortunate he got cut down a little bit too early. But then again, you know, I would like to see a lot more performances like that from Milnow, and I think Heavy definitely deserves to be one of those teams to make it to that final circle there. Just a bit shame that, you know, not all of them managed to make it all the way there.
Yeah, and Boite just kind of mech checking everyone with their last shot. Perfect spidey senses, and now we get to see a more diverse leaderboard without Thailand, of course, King of Gamers Club, unfortunately not having the game for themselves. It's a very weird elimination with how Team Flash took them out, but for V Gaming Esports, 21 big points for them. Expand coming in second with 18. This is exactly what some of these squads needed to get for themselves to kind of make sure that they are within arm's reach.
Yeah, and I think crucially for V Gaming, that's 10 points now that they're able to chip away at Sem9's 28-point lead. So that's going to help them certainly in the long run, but they certainly need to try to aim for that booyah for the next few rounds that we're going to be having for the rest of the day here in order to try to keep things even between the two of them. Then it will be more of a championship fight here for the first spot. But nevertheless, though, I think I got another hot take incoming. I think the Vietnamese squads are probably the ones that will dominate the top 6 here, because, you know, with V Gaming Esports finally getting the footing, Team Flash and Heavy, you know, constantly finding all these good fights here on the map. I think it's only a shame that MDH is just not really performing in this round here. I think last round they actually did decently, I can't quite remember, but I think Vietnam might be the squad to watch, the teams to watch out for in this phase 2.
MDH did have a really rough round. Didn't really get to, you know, even hit the ground running. They were constantly hunted down, so unlucky. Does happen. V Gaming Esports, though, really stepping it up. Again, this booyah is very, very much needed. I think if they can keep this up, doesn't matter if they get first place or not, they are most likely going to Jakarta. But, you know, this is a very early assumption at this point. My hot take is that FARANG might be able to make it through to Jakarta. It is a team that I've always believed in. I mean, their best performance, they have been to the world stage before. The best performance was second in our local circuit, just slightly behind Geek Fam, and it all came down to just one round. But that is history class for another day. I think a lot of pride is primarily on the shoulders of Team Flash, though, because they are the only team from Vietnam in this phase 2 that has been on that big stage before. Didn't qualify for the finals, but they were actually kind of the kryptonite for Expand during the recent play-ins in Bangkok, Thailand, where they were just out of like what 8 rounds, 3 of the rounds was just Team Flash stopping Expand in their tracks. So it's good to see Team Flash up there, and it's even better to see Expand being able to overcome some of those challenges.
I think Free Fire is a game that's already starting to find its own identity, and it has evolved a lot, you know, since the early days of its launch, to the point where I think that even with some teams having plenty of experience playing on the world stage, you know, I think it's more about, you know, the flexibility or the ability to kind of like adapt with the changes that come with this game, because stuff like the grapple gun, for example, is a complete game changer in this current patch right now, and we're starting to see that teams that really mastered that actually are the ones who, you know, are in the top 6 literally.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the players join the Boy Scouts as well. They know how to make those bonfires. We're seeing the glue wall melter. That is also another big change. One of the most recent one added into Free Fire as well, and really changes the dynamics of open field skirmishes at the end of the at the final phase of the round. 2 rounds down, time flies really fast, but Free Fire is this way. We have a lot more to expect, but of course we gotta thank all of our friends and partners who made this a reality. First of all, we gotta thank Snapdragon Elite Gaming for being with us, for making all of this happen in the very first place. They are the core, the heart, and the soul of the Snapdragon Pro Series. And we also gotta thank Samsung Galaxy for finally joining the family. Welcome to the palace of all great gamings. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you to Samsung Galaxy, and also not to forget our other sponsors for this tournament here, Monster Energy. We've been unleashing the beast together with them for weeks and weeks here in the Snapdragon Pro Series, so continue to unleash the beast with them over at monsterenergy.com/gaming. And when you run a little bit low on your Free Fire credits, make sure you use kachishop.com as your next destination for your top-up, because they provide great discounts and great deals to go along with that top-up as well, so you get plenty of benefits if you use Kachishop's storefront over on their website. So, with that said and done, we're now already finished with round number 2. Round number 3 will be coming up, but only after we take a short break here, ladies and gentlemen. So check out. We'll be right back after the break.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Galaxy Z Fold 4, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Gotta get it, I'm on the mission, snap any minute, casually winning. Stop tripping on me, stop dissing on me. Yeah, I got a dream, can't take it from me. My fire's burning, I'm always learning. Tell me where to go, man, I'm on a journey. Yeah, I can't explain it, I get excited. Keep it 300, King Leonidas. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. I don't got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
Welcome back, survivors, to the Snapdragon Pro Series Challenge Group Stage for Season 2 for Free Fire. We are in Phase 2, and this is the first day of that phase. We're done with 2 rounds, but we have 4 more to go, and next up, we're going over to Purgatory. And yes, you heard it right, it's Purgatory. We're not going back to Bermuda yet. There's a slight change in the map format, and I'm all for it. 12 teams vying for 6 spots to go to Jakarta. I'm Husky, and alongside me is Victor.
I mean, you gotta imagine that with the kind of change up in the map rotation here is going to certainly change the rhythm that a lot of these teams are going to be used to, right? I mean, the first phase, we practically saw them, you know, just going back to back on 2 maps, you know, per day. Now they have like another extra 2 maps to consider, you know, doing the middle of this one in this second phase now. So I wonder if that kind of change of rhythm is going to benefit some of these squads more than others, because we did a huge talking point we had in phase 1 was, you know, the map advantage that some of these squads have. So maybe that might be mitigated a little bit by this. But nevertheless, when you look at the points here, I think this is still the last overall points, isn't it?
Don't get baited, guys. This is after round 1. So
Yeah.
round 2 points, probably coming up in a bit, but just for those who didn't get to catch round 1, this was how it ended. Sam9, they got a booyah in round number 1 on Bermuda, and V Gaming Esports were completely knocked out, had the winds knocked out of their lungs. But in game number 2, on Kalahari, they were able to get that booyah. We will have it updated just by a bit, so do bear with us. And on top of the map pool changes, we also, you know, I think the teams also have to come to terms with the fact that they are going to play with the same, you know, opponents for the rest of phase 2, right? We're not switching, you know, teams in and out. They are going to be playing 6 rounds a day instead of 4. There will be 36 total rounds instead of 24 across the next 6 days. So all these changes, I think, is something that these teams need to get used to. And I'm pretty sure most of them are used to this format, because in their local circuit, you playing 8 maps, or actually 6 rounds per day anyways.
Yeah, so that's the thing. For these squads now, you know, they have to get used to this new rhythm. They have to get used to the new pecking order here. I mean, King of Gamers Club already making a massive climb up, and they probably will be the gatekeepers going into that top 3 here. So between them, MDH and FARANG, it's going to be up to those squads to see what can they do in these few rounds here to try to overcome King of Gamers' rise here. But, you know, FARANG had a little bit of a better round number 2 there compared to round 1, where, if you remember, only 1 member managed to make it to that final circle. FARANG this time, they took control of Refinery very much in the middle phase of the game there, and stayed there very much and allowed them to get some good hits on some of the other squads there, and opened up an opportunity for them to be part of that final fight. Though they weren't in the final circle, I think that FARANG is definitely still going to have good opportunities going forward.
Yeah, and we also have MDH and Expand to kind of keep our eyes on. MDH had a very abysmal round 2. They tried to challenge FARANG on their home turf, lost 3 members, and after they were revived, they ran to DEWA United Esports, so didn't really get to play the game much in that match. But for Expand, very good recovery. That was what I think a lot of Expand fans have been desiring since phase number 1, where it really felt like they were tripping day in, day out. They had a couple of rounds where they never even got off the ground, but Expand had a good round 2, and now people are gonna look at, ask the same questions again. Can they remain consistent? Which has kind of been a demon that Expand were struggling with for a while.
That's the thing, it's like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, especially when it comes to these long form kind of championships here. You know, it's not so much about, you know, which rounds in particular you can really expand that lead. It's more about keeping consistent amount of points ahead of your rival squads there, and making sure that you continue that momentum throughout the entirety of like this whole phase here. So that's something that we really want to see out of Expand, and given that, you know, their performance during the MCP has been nothing short of like brilliant, it's kind of surprising to see that they struggled so hard coming to this regionals here. But, you know, you could certainly put that away to, you know, that first, especially during that first week, you know, the lack of familiarity with some of these other teams and other squads from different regions. But then now that we're already gone past phase number 1, we already kind of know where these teams stand after all that fighting. So it's going to be up to Expand now to show that they're still capable of putting in those brilliant plays. They're still capable of mixing it up with the top guys, especially the new guys, the new blood that's now coming into this competition.
I think the best part about Phase 2 is also that you don't have to... Some of these teams are a bit more fearless. You don't have to worry about, you know, Evo Screen is coming out of nowhere and just wiping 2 teams at once. The big dogs are already gone. You know, they've already booked the tickets to the final. So right now, some of these teams are taking initiatives to get those skirmishes going. We're seeing more aggressive pushes from VGM, from Team Flash, which previously in phase number 1 felt a bit absent just because there is the threat of those our Thai powerhouses. So that is definitely a positive for phase number 2. But you know, just like Victor said, we're not looking for Usain Bolt. He's not needed in this. Maybe for the final day, but for now, we're looking for someone who can have enough lung capacity to do the long run. And Purgatory will be map number 3. The flight path a bit skewed towards the eastern side. So we should expect a more populated region towards Brasilia, you know, Forge, maybe Ski Lodge. And I'm expecting Anxiety to go there.
Yeah, I'm expecting them too as well. They're taking a sweet time though coming out of that plane. Maybe they might have some other plans and ideas. Oh, it's going to be so useful now to get onto that high tier loot zone because it's so close to the next circle. We see King of Gamers already putting themselves up there. Anxiety looks like they're going to be going for the moat house instead, and that's going to be together with Axis as well.
Not like this, MDH.
Well, MDH is having a lot of trouble there. Looks like Expand completely wiping the floor clean of them.
Yeah, that's 2 rounds in a row for MDH where they just decided to run into a second team and got completely obliterated. But well, Expand cut the suffering short, really short. Within 1 minute, they're gone. Anxiety up against DEWA United, 2 down on each team. Ren's the third under pressure, puts up the glue wall, try to buy a bit of space. Toby swings the corner to get the knock and finds it. As Anxiety finally might have gotten some momentum for themselves, but can they finish off Viros, who is the last survivor? Yes, they can. Anxiety showing some signs of life in this phase 2.
And it's just a little bit of a shame that the high tier loot zone is not around the moat house this time, but certainly this is literally Anxiety's house now, given that they just laid out the red carpet for DEWA to just go ahead and soak their blood in it. So a bit unfortunate there for DEWA, but you know, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But we have to also watch out for Sem9, who are lurking outside of the moat there. So Anxiety, they know exactly what, or rather I hope they know exactly what they're going to be getting into for the next phase there, because after they're done looting here, it's going to be up against the literal top of the charts here when it comes to the overall standings.
Average of 20 points per round for Sem9 thus far. 40 total points across 2 rounds. With how the members of Sem9 are positioned, Moat House has been temporarily renamed to Guantanamo Bay. And you can get out from that. It's going to be a long swim, a long journey to get to dry land.
I was gonna say like Alcatraz actually, but yeah, Guantanamo Bay also works.
True.
Escape from
without the bridge, right? You know, without a highway to safety.
Escape from Alcatraz here for Anxiety though, but you know, for Sem9, it's just gonna let Anxiety loot whatever they want out of the boat house. They're gonna come collect it afterwards there if they win the fight. First Raiders though, they are looking for one though, having gotten the knockdown and the kill onto VGM's Bash. So now we want to see whether or not they'll be able to find any more members of VGM who are held up at the complex just north of them. And First Raiders very rapidly making their way towards VGM's position.
Yeah, First Raiders is getting some sort of playtime in this round after getting completely decimated by, I believe, Expand in the previous round. VGM showing no interest nor intention to even take on First Raiders. They are long gone, but they were hanging around this area for quite a while. They decided to not even attempt to go for the revival zone, but Kanoho, he has already made that swim, the first guy to escape from this confinement. Raja hearing all of these footsteps. This first contact will be very, very crucial. Kanoho needs to win this one.
Kanoho, I think, is very much aware someone's around the corner. Probably didn't expect him to be literally right around the corner there. It's now he's going to be fighting against Raja. Time to prod out. It doesn't quite work out there for Kanoho, though. He's going to be taken to the lobby, but then Anxiety knows they're being hunted down right now. Raja still holding position, still kind of keep an eye out for anyone else from Anxiety who wants to be on the menu here. Got to be coming out from the water. Is going to try to meet the fire face on here as Raja peels away from his position to regroup the rest of Sem9.
Yeah, they did lose Newbie to VGM. You see Raja also kind of rendezvousing with the rest of his team. They are very, very spread out. Able to get Newbie back, but now they know that VGM and Anxiety are nearby. Kanoho also brought back to life thanks to the revival point on Moat House. But he's going to drop into a literal fire pot if he decides to land in the middle of this area where Sem9 are just prowling around like the tigers they are. With lack of trees, this is why deforestation isn't good. See all these tigers kind of approaching humanity. Kanoho hearing all of this, and he just came back. He needs some time.
He only has a Tommy gun in his pack right now, not a lot of armor. Victory, I think, realizes that there's a member of Anxiety inside there, so they're just keeping outside the house right now, seeing if they can flush them out. Kanoho's gonna come out on the awning, just get knocked down. Zen OP was already ready, going up that staircase there to try to backdoor him, but looks like that's not needed anymore. Now Sem9 can focus on the rest of Anxiety, who are attempting to clear out from the moat house. Kanoho will be finished off by Victory there. We have a few shots from his sniper rifle. And with that said and done, Sem9 already with 3 eliminations, and now they got Newbie back.
Such a solid hold from Sem9, making sure that even with these rotations, they're not letting the control of the area that they started with slip away. Xenop going on an expedition to kind of see if the members, where the rest of Anxiety are. They did see Toby, I believe, who just made it to dry land. So the assumption the rest of Anxiety would be around that vicinity is very much reasonable. Farang though, let's see First Raider passing by. They just made it into the circle. First Raiders heading straight for campsite. And there is a vending machine there, so First Raiders should just plop themselves around this area. Very, very safe compound. Farang might need to push through them.
They might. The thing is that things are starting to heat up north though, because King of Gamers and VGM bumped into each other as they were repositioning themselves to the center of this next circle. And with the vehicle in hand there of Mingsu, he definitely managed to get a rundown onto JLX. Now
What?
Kevin gets a good shot there with a sniper rifle. Good timing there, because now he's going to be able to get the trade onto Bingsu. Where are the rest of VGM though? The revive is already coming out for the side of KOG. VGM now is trying to find any more stragglers around the outside here, but Van Tan is already rapidly making his way out of that fight. But he's probably going to bump into the next group of squads here, because First Raiders as well as Farang are literally right alongside where VGM has just entered into the circle here. And with them having lost that fight against KOG, they're certainly going to be under pressure now.
Wantan needs a little time and space to get the revival point captured, but First Raiders are showing up to his vicinity. Wantan, not really sure if you want to stay around, but he doesn't have much choice. First Raiders will decide for him and, of course, punish with death. A third member down on the side of VGM. They are just not having a time, and worst case of all, they even kind of capture the point for First Raiders to a certain extent. Today's circles are pretty brutal. We're seeing a very, very split final circle. Body of water in the middle, 3 islands within that safe zone as well. It's going to be a very cramped final circle if we get there in a bit.
I think like what we're also seeing is that these squads here are getting a little bit more confident in just going out and finding these kind of fights, simply because they know that the top 6, rather the top 4 Thai teams are no longer in this battle anymore. So they know that if they can just take a little bit more initiative, they can perhaps get a lot more reward out of this compared to the first phase. Now we see Farang on the move now. They spotted a member of Sem9 on a motorcycle just getting into that warehouse. There's Newbie right now is scrambling and try to see whether or not he and Hikri can take control over this warehouse area, because it'll be very important for this next circle. But Farang seems to want to prevent them from being able to have this setup here. Another member of Sem9 caught around the outside. Xenop trying to run away. Well, too bad. Take some shots there with the sniper. Didn't quite land enough though to knock him off of that mount. So now he's going to be able to peel back there and hopefully regroup with Sem9 when it's much safer to do so.
A lot of info gathered by Jesbu. He was lurking behind. I think he saw Sem9, the last member of Sem9 passing by. They have 2 vehicles, I believe, a bike and a car. There is a revival point nearby, so it would feel like it's appropriate for this area to be a very highly contested zone. Farang making sure that they are keeping themselves safe. And just a good call from Sem9, right? Regrouping with the entire team before engaging in a fight. We saw them just beeline towards safety to meet on the other side. And now they feel more comfortable taking on Farang, knowing that Farang is around this vicinity. Fikri and Newbie on scouting duty as well.
Yeah, in the meantime, I think Axis is getting into a bit of a tangle with Flash, though. They just lost 1 member at the hands of Bayo, so we'll see. We'll give you guys, see if we can give you guys an update on that, because Axis is currently outside in the blue zone here, while Flash is just gatekeeping them from across the river. In the meantime, for FARANG versus Sem9, at the moment, FARANG has repositioned themselves to try to take this fight to the outside, but Sem9 conversely has spread themselves out very well, so that's providing plenty of crossfire between the members here to make it a bit of a death sentence for anyone who decides to try to beat them out on the open field. Jembel knows this, so that's why he's trying to dance around both of these gas tanks there, but he can only do so much before Fikri finally finds a flank. In fact, he finds an opening here. Can he make the full use of it though? Jembel puts out a glue wall just in the nick of time. Zenobi comes behind. Oh, but the glue wall stops his momentum. He's not able to get a knockdown. Fikri now tries to trade back, gets a knockdown onto Jembel, tries to see if he can get another one. He eliminates Jembel completely though, so making sure that FARANG only has 3 members left to fight here. Spade is the next one to get knocked down. Will Zenobi be able to get the knockdown? He's looking forward to Yes, they do. Too Bad has been knocked down as well by the 2 wheels. And Fikri finishes off the rest of them, and FARANG now very much finding themselves in a tough spot. Looks like they're not going to be long for this world.
Yeah, lovely teamwork from Sem9, just flushing out the members of FARANG. All started with just 1 bite, but we have no time to talk about that because KOG now takes on First Raiders. The first knock is already out onto Lazi. KOG needing a bit more. Souza down. Kevin landing those crucial headshots. Osaka, he's going to be on the ground. Oscar to follow as Kyle keeping his team alive. But a wall bang from Kevin stops that. The foolish ambitions put to rest. KOG with 6 points.
Well, that one was definitely brewing for a while there because both of them, were bumped into each other, on the way. Earlier on, KOG bumped into V Gaming Esports. V Gaming managed to pull out now. I do see one member of Axis Neptune still on the map. Oh, okay.
Anxiety.
No, Axis is still around. Anxiety as well, but then now they're going to be tangled here together with Flash because they're just going to try to fight them right on their own turf here, right at the end of the bridge. Kanoho is going to get knocked down though. Anxiety down to 2, now down to 1. Jaboywa trying to hold his own, but cannot do so, with Bayo providing the last grenade there to finish things off.
Anxiety had nothing the entire game. Revive and instantly ran to Team Flash. Team Flash, they saw them from a mile away. They were gatekeeping Anxiety, so it's only appropriate for them to finish the job that they started. See the circle expand now. Also kind of making contact with KOG, who just finished a fight with First Raiders. They did get a bit of breathing room, but Heavy kind of on the other side of the map. This circle is absolutely brutal, forcing some of these teams to really cut through this choke point on the map. Heavy is holding those fishing huts. Buffalo will start things off. Vantan on the ground. Boyte found as well. Buffalo doing the work and landing those shots. VGM might not be long for the round.
Yeah, it's so brutal as well because Bingsu actually dropped quite far away from the rest of the squad, so VGM is not really fighting at full strength even to begin with. And now the main squad has been completely eliminated. Bingsu is still around, but he's going to get swamped very soon by some other members from the other side of the map. In fact, he got caught out by Yanbin just in the nick of time there to get elimination onto them. In the meantime, Heavy versus Expanse. Expanse trying their very best to hold the high ground against them and trying to gatekeep Heavy from this next circle here, but the blue wall is closing around them. This is making it a lot tougher for Heavy though because they have to fight their way uphill, and Tufaz is trying to use his opportunity now to make its way down, trying to meet them face to face. Buffalo gets a shot onto him though with the max 10 just in time, and then now he's going to try to finish the rest of them off there, putting up the glue wall maze here. Axel's going to try to run around the side. Buffalo puts out his crack, and again he gets another knockdown on that submachine gun. What incredible play here from Buffalo.
Buffalo just skewering every single member, every single opponent that he runs into. This guy is running straight at the red cloth put out by Expand, and this was a 4v2 to begin with. Expand had the high ground, but no longer Anakin at this point. They're running away. Me now down, but Buffalo, oh, he's hard on their heel. This guy is galloping towards the finishing line. Expand with the numbers advantage, but do they know that Buffalo is around? This guy is on the second floor. Neptune did perish to the blue zone. Expand, you have Buffalo behind you. He has healed up. He has the gun. He can play that long range. Too fast. Did finish on me now. Cobra, it's Buffalo again! And Heavy is too good. Buffalo is too good.
Oh, Too Fast now has a turn tail. He wants to punish Heavy here from getting the eliminations on his squad now. But it's going to be a fight on the blue zone. It's extremely painful at this phase 2. So the thing is that Buffalo has to quickly finish this up, and he has to also use the health kits in time there to make sure that he stays alive inside of Bluestone. But now it's going to be between him and Expand. Who's going to win it out? Oh, Buffalo! What a beautiful, beautiful one. I'll kiss you right here and now. But unfortunately, I still have game flames are cast in the studio.
Yeah, we have Flash against 7-9, the two remaining teams in this round. The grenades are flying through 7-9, having 9 kills already. Flash not far behind, the natives tag on the newbie. Not enough to take him out though, but brings him to 50. The second nade from Bio, right on the money. Newbie is down, 7-9 losing a bit of ground as Flash go for the push. Bio with a supporting fire. Those nades are deadly! But Newbie retaliates with a grenade launcher. 7-9 with 2 down. The playing field is now even between these two teams. They need to get Newbie back up, and they will. Bio now puts himself in the front line. This guy wants to get down and dirty and take down the rest of 7-9, but Fikri will put up walls behind these two. Fikri challenging Bio, but Bio wins that one, and Bio still staying alive, trying to outrun the blue zone and win this fight, but there's just too many problems for him to solve. Newbie, the last man alive. Flash, they have the numbers, they have the pressure. 7-9 could not stand, and Flash makes it to the finishing line. A booyah for the Vietnam squad.
Wow, that was an exciting final fight there actually. 7-9 desperate to try to get the booyah with VGM being taken out of the way, but Team Flash was the one to deny them this opportunity, and perfect timing on that as well. Bayo, he deserves some kind of medal, you know, for this performance in this round. Not only getting the throwables on point, but still able to hold his own on the ground fight. That's amazing there from Team Flash.
You know what, Victor? I think you're onto something, right? You said that your hot take is that the Vietnam teams are gonna heat up the battlefield. Buffalo had an absolute highlight reel out there. I think we can make a montage just for him. Flash, they won the round. Congratulations to Team Flash for sure. No, 7-9 still solid as always, coming in second. But I gotta be honest, Buffalo stole my heart for this round.
Oh
Nothing
my God.
tops it. This guy, a one-man army.
The shot onto the McLaren, like, that's so incredibly difficult to do, and yet he pulled it off, and really at the most important time as well, because that shot literally eliminated the entirety of Expand, who did a number onto Heavy. He had to remember that as well.
Yep.
So, you know, I think like in Buffalo's mind is thinking like, okay, if I'm not going to be able to make it to the final circle, I'm going to make sure you don't get to the final circle either.
Yeah, well, it's very rare we get to see 1v4. Buffalo literally took down the entirety of Expand. This guy was, he was a ninja that ground. We saw Kevin from KOG took down an opponent riding a bike. We saw Buffalo doing the same, but to an opponent who is in a McLaren, of anything.
Going like maximum speed, like across the screen like that.
Yeah, this is why, you know, this is why you need a special license to be a matador or something. You know, like the Buffalo is coming straight for you. We did have a very interesting start. You know, 2 squads instantly out of the game before we even had a chance to talk about them. You know, DEWA United and MDH didn't get to play much. This is the Kevin clip, but it gets better.
Yeah, it gets even better later on, and you know, 7-9 continuing to try to use the motorcycle to get those knockdowns. That certainly worked out, and Buffalo, wow, that shot, I still cannot get it out of my head because of this, how incredibly, you know, against the odds that shot was there, because, you know, the McLaren is very fast. You only got a tiny window to shoot out of. Granted, you do have a bit of auto aim, but even with that, timing has to be absolutely perfect to pull off a shot like that. So very much is well deserved there from Heavy. Also well deserved win here for Team Flash, taking the booyah, taking 9 kills, making a total of 21, just 2 points ahead of 7-9. But even then, you know, compared to the rest of the teams that are also in that second page there, you do realize that, yeah, like I said, I think the Vietnamese squads, we're going to be seeing the rise of them in phase number 2 now, especially with the performances we've already seen from Flash and Heavy. Gaming Esports, of course, still contending against 7-9 this round. While they were not able to get to the final circle, they still managed to get a decent haul of points though, but 7-9 still having a lot on their hands right now, so safe to say 7-9 still has the lead. Gaming Esports need to work extra hard now in these next few rounds.
Yeah, it's safe to say that 7-9 still have a comfortable cushion to kind of fall back onto, but I mean, this has officially become one of my favorite Free Fire rounds to witness. Individual plays, that's what, you know, always makes this game so much more entertaining, and we saw that on full display. Team Flash with the booyah at the very end. Just an amazing performance, high octane, something that I think that these teams did try to attempt on phase 1, but you know, everyone was just shouting Thai squad, E-Arena, attack all around, Evil's Phoenix, Nigma Galaxy. Didn't really get to put the spotlight onto some of these squads, but now they get their own vacuum to play in. You really get to witness them shine.
Exactly. So that's exactly what we expected to come out of phase 2. You know, the teams that really weren't able to, perform well in that first phase now have a perfect opportunity to show that they actually, not only deserve to be in this competition, but, are really staking their claim into those final 6 slots to Jakarta. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue on to the next map, which will be Alpine. But before that, we have to take a little bit of a break. No, not to worry, because we'll be right back after these messages.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Galaxy Z Fold 4, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
สวัสดีครับผมเอ็นเจคคาราเมลครับจากทีมนิกมากกาแล็กซี่ครับเล่นตำแหน่ง EIDL ครับปาระเบิดครับมาจากประเทศไทยครับผมคาดหวังก็ไม่เกินท็อป2ครับว่าทีมรักษามาตรฐานได้ดีครับเพราะว่าทีมเราไม่หยุดที่จะพัฒนาครับพัฒนาไปเรื่อยๆครับไม่ว่าจะทำได้ดีขนาดไหนก็ต้องให้ดีกว่าเดิมมีการเล่นที่เปลี่ยนแปลงไปเยอะแล้วครับแล้วก็มีแผนที่เล่นรับกลุ่มกว่าเดิมเมตาปรับมาใหม่เพราะผมก็ปรับตั้งแต่เข้ามานะครับให้ปรับครับเริ่มปรับกันเลยครับอันนี้ไม่เน้นสักอย่างครับเล่นตามระบบเล่นตามแผนไปเลยครับไม่ครับเรื่องปืนนี้ไม่มีปัญหาครับเช่นการสื่อสารครับแล้วก็การเข้าทำครับอาจจะมีแบบเข้าทำแบบไม่ค่อยสื่อสารอะไรอย่างนี้ก็ปรับมาแบบสื่อสารให้มากกว่าเดิมแล้วก็การเดินเกมเป็นการเก็บรายละเอียดเล็กๆน้อยๆครับข้อผิดพลาดแบบเล็กๆน้อยๆก็มาแก้ไขครับไม่ปล่อยผ่านครับอาจจะเดินแบบไม่ตรงตามที่ซ้อมมาแล้วตอนนี้เราก็ทำเดินตามเกมที่ซ้อมมาครับไม่มีพลาดนะครับรับไปเล่นต้นเกมครับซ้อมเล่นต้นเกมเผื่อมีการมีการปรับสกิลด้วยพี่ปรับสกิลมาเล่นต้นเกมแล้วก็มีการวางแผนว่าวันเล่นเร็วหรือเล่นช้าในแต่ละแมปครับเล่นเกมต่อเกมดูวงไหนควรเคลียร์อย่างที่ผมบอกครับวงไหนควรเข้าเร็ววงไหนควรเข้าช้าครับจับตาดูทีม Esports ครับเพราะว่าเป็นทีมที่เล่นแผนการดุดันและน่ากลัวที่สุดที่ผมมองดูฝากถึงทีมอื่นนะครับระวังหมดตี้โดยไม่ได้ตั้งตัวนะครับ
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series. I'm still kind of shell-shocked, really.
I am. It expanded shell shock after that.
I know, right? My name is Victor Cax. Joining me here is Husky. We're here to bring you even more Free Fire action after already completing 3 rounds. We go to the 4th map now. This is going to be Alpine. No, Alpine. Alpine. I get it correct this time, ladies and gentlemen.
We had to sift through like multiple languages to kind of come to a general consensus.
I found out that Alpine is literally from Latin, so I don't even know how to pronounce it.
We learned something today.
Yeah. Nevertheless, though, let's go ahead and learn where the pecking order is at this point, because Expand has finally found enough points now to overtake V-Gaming Esports for the 2nd place. And with Sem9, you know, being in that final fight, they further solidified their position as number 1, 177.5 points for them so far. Team Flash also getting themselves into the mix. They're getting a good 10-point lead, 10.5-point lead. Sorry, 9.5-point lead here ahead of King of Gamers Club here. I have to do a lot of quick maths, especially with these decimal points now. Yeah. But I mean, Heavy as well, getting themselves some really good kills there, particularly from Buffalo. That still is just going to be stuck in my head all day long there. I'm going to be expecting a lot more crazy plays like that going forwards. But Heavy has done enough now to put themselves into the 6th place.
Yeah, you love to see it. I mean, Heavy has always been one of the top contenders in any regional competition, but always falls short, right? This name... they resonate in Battle Royale in general, so Heavy being able to squeeze into the 1st page is a good start for the team. But I mean, you look at some of the other squads on the 2nd page. DEWA United Esports not really having a good time. They started the day in top 6, and now they got just slightly pushed out of gates in 7th place. No FARANG, though, also falling back to 8. MDH had 2 abysmal rounds in a row. They got nothing at all. And Axis, they're climbing up in terms of placement points, but those kills still need to come through. Same can be said for First Raiders, Eclipse, and Anxiety. And just for context out there, for anyone who is watching, if you are looking at the placement points and kills and you're wondering, wait, those numbers don't match up, it's because we started phase 2 by halving the total points that these teams got from phase 1. So that's why we have the decimals, that's why you know, the stats might look a bit weird. But of course, all of this would not have been possible without our partners and friends that are with us on this journey. So on that note, we gotta show them appreciation and thank you once more, Snapdragon Elite Gaming. This is season 2, so it means that they have created this Colosseum of Free Fire. It's festive season for Free Fire every single day with them around.
I mean, as festive as you can get with all those explosions going around in it. Nevertheless, though, thank you so much, Snapdragon, for powering this tournament here, because without them, they wouldn't have the platform really for all these talented players to show off crazy plays, just like what Buffalo did. I still kind of get it out of my head.
This is why the best wings are called Buffalo wings.
True. That's actually very, very true.
That's very true.
I'm thinking kind of hungry for wings now.
I'm always hungry for wings.
Yeah, so we also like to thank our other sponsors, Monster Energy, unleashing the beast from us since the very beginning of the Snapdragon Pro Series, and we thank them a lot for their support, as well as Kachi Shop, a best place you can go to if you're doing the next top up and you want to get some additional benefits, because Kachi Shop does that with their deals as well as discounts, so make sure you check them out. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and jump into the hills of Alpine. I'm still gonna have to be a little bit tongue-tied when it comes to the name of that, isn't it?
We're plenty of rounds to go over that. And then, of course, last but not least, we also gotta thank Samsung Galaxy, right? They gave everyone the power to take Destiny and shape it the way they want to. Round number 4, though, this is going to be interesting. Well, going back to Alpine, this is a map that Expand really loves. It honestly is one of their best performing maps overall out of the entire competitive map pool. Anxiety just starting the round off by socially distancing themselves from everyone else on the lone island. But we get some early combat. I mean, Sem9, they get a very split up 3-1 split, so Newbie, he's going to be under fire by KOG, but for everyone else, it feels like they have found residence in some parts of the map.
And also another team is doing that split as well, Expand, just literally expanding their area of coverage there by taking control over the northern side of that southwestern island there, so just basically a good position for them to try to gatekeep anyone moving up from the bridge that links both the little island as well as the mainland. So nevertheless, though, when when we see what Sem9 is doing so far. I mean, again, they can kind of kick it back a little bit, but seeing the way they played the last few rounds there, I think they're just going to continue to push as hard as they can through this entire first day here to build as big as a lead as they can, so that the rest of the days when it comes to phase number 2 will be smooth sailing for them, because they were going to have a huge cushion if they're successful enough in collecting those booyahs, a huge cushion to allow them plenty of room to play out multiple different types of strategies instead of having to chase another squad. And speaking of the chase now, Sem9's newbie is under pressure here, but King of Gamers 4-man trying to go up. He's going in a 1v4 here because the rest of his squad is not around. He managed to get only one knockdown though before Kevin cuts short his little fight.
He knew that his time is going to be up, sooner or later. But actually, he got first blood onto JLX. So, and he was the guy that split himself from his team. Fortunately for KOG, there is a revival point right at that vicinity, so they can easily bring JLX back. Sem9 not really too concerned about that loss. It was calculated, to say the least. Both these squads will get that revive going, and then we're back to square one.
Elimination point is elimination point, whether you get it after revive point or before, it's still going to be 1 point extra to Sem9 they can contain or collect for this round here, and they're going to try to look for even more now, with ZenOP beelining his way to the big structure here, trying to see if there's any juicy good loot there to find. Now we see Expand starting to gather themselves up, and Forest Red, 3 members here so far, but then now I really want to see whether or not Expand can continue building up even more momentum. We're starting to see them climb a little bit, in the past few rounds. Now it's just really waiting for them to, rather, it just feels like a matter of time before they're going to be able to find a chance to get the booyah.
And Expand making the rotation, but VGM, Boite showing up to the party. And Axel might not be able to make it out of this alive, under a lot of fire from VGM, able to just barely slip away with a slither of health, healing himself back up, but Expand, they are very split up, so they might have to surrender Axel if he stops at any point. But Axel is going to rendezvous with the rest of his squad. VGM, if they keep chasing, they might run into a death trap. Thankfully for Boite, he's going to call it quits.
Yeah, so the thing is that now the ball's in VGM's court. You guys still want to commit to the fight now that we're 4-man in this one area here? I mean, better think twice a little bit. MDH in the meantime looks like their suffering is unending so far for the day here, because now they've been caught up by First Raiders, who have already knocked down one of them. Lolzy is going to be picking up his McLaren to try to force the issue here onto First Raiders. Darko is going to get a bit of a catch out of the back here, but then he's going to be caught in the back by I Don't Cry. Lolzy is going to try his very best here to try to get a trade here onto Don't Cry, but it's going to be the other guy, Souza, who comes around from the train side in order to take one down.
Yeah, First Raiders are just relentless. They're going to try to run down the rest of MDH, and just like you said, Victor, their suffering is unending. It seems like MDH just could not catch a break. Wherever they go, they are hunted down by different squads. Souza, he is fearless, straight into the grenade launcher, gets absolutely blown up, loses his life. MDH still kicking, just barely though. They gotta get Nero back up. NP, he's gonna have some time to heal. Nero, not gonna get the same treatment, unfortunately. On the other side of the building, he will bleed out, but First Raider, they made the call to chase, and now they are gonna pay for it. Darko, last man alive, he's gonna get pushed 2v1. Darko, can he win this though? Nuke takes first contact, has the glue wall to buy space, split the battle lines, and there's nothing that Darko could do. FR Eclipse getting punished.
I mean, I wanted to say this is going to be good for MDH, but they lost 2 members at this stage now. They will be able to get 1 buyback and 2, but remember, they still have to try to find additional loot. I say additional, but had to restart their looting process all over again. So, like I said, suffering seems to be the pattern here for MDH, and we'll see whether or not this is little challenge here is going to make them rise even harder later on, because like I said, I'm really pegging a lot of these Vietnamese squads to impress us in this phase number 2 here. So MDH is so far the only Vietnamese squad that seems to be stumbling in these opening rounds right now. They need to be able to catch a break. Maybe they could start from here.
Yeah, definitely needed those 4 points, considering that they got 0 in the last 2 rounds. Expand covering a lot of ground with those rotations. Again, sticking together as a unit, something that kind of have been begging for Expand to do, at least in those early to mid rounds. Revival point nearby, and Expand a bit more comfortable to kind of roam around the map and lift that fog of war a bit. No teams near them though. So far, Expand very much in the center of the map. with a lot of resources to work with. But
nice
FARANG are running into Sam9. This is going to be crunch time for FARANG. They have the high ground, a lot of advantageous angles for them to work with. Too bad, getting kind of pelted with bullets on the snipers of Sam9. Also not able to hold out for too long, but see what FARANG wants to do.
The thing is, they were hoping to try to catch Raja off guard when he was going for that loot box, but then unfortunately they weren't able to get a knockdown. So Raja slipped away. Finally, they get a knockdown. Are they going to be able to get a clear shot to take him out completely, though? He's still close enough to the rest of his team that he potentially could get revived, though, as I think he just already did. So now VGM's going to have to shift into higher gear here and go for the full commit if they really want to take down Sam9 here, because they are still rivals for this, and if they cut down Sam9 here, this is going to add to the chances of VGM continuing to chip away at Sam9's lead.
And FARANG might just be the vessel for VGM's kind of resurgence on the leaderboard. Jesbu, pretty low, needs to kind of give himself some time for the rest of his squad to catch up. That means Newbie will also get to bandage himself up. FARANG encircling this entire compound, not really the best spot for Sam9 to fight in, though. They are at a disadvantage, and you know, FARANG has a member watching from long range on the bridge, and that is Spade. But if MDH catches Spade from behind, we might see kind of the turn of tides and Spade forced away from his angle. This is good news for Sam9 and bad news for Spade, because MDH are now circling him like a school of sharks, and they might just take him out. FARANG, what do you have left in the tank? Two different fights on two different fronts.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much going to have to fight on his own, though, because the rest of his squad is still very much tied up in the fight with Sam9, so he's all alone, an army of one. Managed to take down one first, though. Can he continue to keep MDH at bay and allow his team to focus on the siege onto Sam9, with two members from MDH continuing to take pot shots from the top there? It's not making Farmer's job any easier, so Spade needs to try to make some moves as soon as he can. Axis, in the meantime, facing some pressure as Heavy hot drops onto them there. It looks like Heavy is coming back after some revives, but unfortunately landed into Axis's backyard.
Yeah, X-Band also around. And because MDH ran into FARANG, Sam9 slipped away. He's getting an extra lifeline. Can Heavy pull this out again? Buffalo was the key in the previous round, but this time they are under even more pressure with Expand looking for revenge, and Axis there to potentially help them out. Raph and Pudai both traded their lives. Buffalo taking heavy damage as well, but he's putting himself right in the front line, getting down and under. Mina getting a good kill onto Raph. Axis still trying to play this long range fight, and Heavy, they have the entire squad together. The dual melter is gonna start really chipping away at these barricades. Tom XT feeling like he is out in the open, compelled to make something happen as Neptune suppresses Buffalo, not letting him make those big plays. Axis splitting that forces, and Expand trying to take advantage of that from long range.
That's the thing, with Axis still having a couple of members on top of that lighthouse, is making it kind of hard for even Expand to try to make an approach here, because they will be caught out by Axis's own snipers. But then they were also hoping the Heavy is going to keep them pressured. In the meantime, DEWA United gets a limited off hammer here, while Milnow continues to take shots, this time against Expand, but also keeping an eye out for Axis. The thing is quite funny that, you know, there literally is a tree between that lighthouse and the window that that member Heavy was shooting out of. Buffalo now makes a break for that revive point. They're hoping to try to deny Axis
they can't get
control of it, but they can't really get to him, though, because the angle is just right there. Buffalo able to hide just behind there, so forcing to bring out the troubles. And that one there just worked out there. Neptune getting the knockdown there before getting knocked down himself thanks to the blue zone.
Just in the nick of time, Buffalo should be able to pick back up. Do they have any more nades? It doesn't seem like that's the case. No more time, no more Riptide Rhythm as well. That put on cooldown earlier on. Couple more ice grenades just to get those chip damage in. Heavy should be able to get out of this. The blue zone really pressuring them. You can see that Expand, they have already started moving. They are running straight into VGM. Axis kind of trapped out in the open. Buffalo will be the first one to make the move and Expand. They gotta get through VGM. It's not gonna be an easy one though. Grenade launcher in hand. Expand taking it slow. A couple of haystacks for them to take cover behind. Roy will be the first one to lead the charge, trailblazing into the territory of VGM. This is a good flank angle. If he can find it, those grenades are flushing VGM out. He finds the info. Expand coming in from the pincer. Too fast to start it off. Boite is out. Binsu couldn't land the utility the same way that Expand is doing, and now VGM, they have lesser members to work with. Binsu encircles himself with the glue wall, but too fast, chips him from the edge, takes him out. VGM slowly losing control of this skirmish. Roy looking for the third, and he has found it. Cobra down, but VGM have nothing left to fight this.
Especially tight when you consider there's no longer any glue walls in X-Ray's kit, and I think Expand, the rest of them not really having a lot of protection either. Not all the glue walls get burst down, and that will give the opening for Too Fast to finish up Bingsu with the grenade launcher.
It's Heavy?
So it's where's Heavy at the moment? Yeah, they're kind of split up at this point. You've got 3 of them kind of surrounding Expand, so if they decide to close in here, they might actually be able to catch them. But the thing is, Tom XC is still a little bit far out in the blue zone, and we see Too Fast actually making his way out there to try to finish him off. In the meantime, Gotsubi is going to be caught out a little bit by Nuke, taking a lot of damage on his ATV, forcing him to come out. In fact, Boiwa will get knocked down onto the ground. Nero's trying his very best to get the shots onto the rest of Anxiety, though, while we see Expand trying to bring back the members into the fight right now, while Anxiety gets themselves surrounded on all sides by MDH, and with one last shot by onto Gotsubi, he's been taken out from the map.
Yeah, Heavy is just constantly under Expand skin. They stole 1 kill away. They confirm a kill onto Expand. Now Expand, they need to constantly be aware of where Heavy is. Jetbull getting absolutely ran over. Farang left with just Spade. And unfortunately, the direction is heading towards is into Sam9, and Sam9, they just catapulted themselves into KOG. Newbie making the call and getting the knockdown. Osaka stood no chance at all. Is this Sam9 coming online again? Osaka abandoned, but there's backup. Kevin from long range, and this was the guy that got those shots in. But watch out for Newbie. Finds another one. J-Down is gone. Kevin the third to fall, and Newbie, he is wiping out the entirety of KOG. There can only be one king, and Sam9 looks to be that one. They took the title, and they will force it out of KOG's hands. 6 kills so far, and Sam9 still kicking.
The king is dead. Long live Sam9 as they continue the chase to the final circle. In the meantime, we also lost out Farang there because the Spade has been caught, so there's no longer any more members of them to be left trying to crawl their way to the final circle. And Mildow has also been caught out, so Heavy is down to Buffalo and Tom XT. In the meantime, Raja now getting caught up by another member. This is MDH this time, getting into the mix, and they seem to be quite successful in the front. Unfortunately, with Sen OP being at a distance, he was able to shoot them from the blue zone, now forcing Nuke, the last surviving member MDH, to try to run away from this fight. But then with Sam9 surrounding on all sides, and Flash as well, getting a shot from a distance, Nuke had no longer anything left to give in this map.
Has Sam9 pushed their luck too far? They are on an absolute tear, but their backs were open with this aggression, and Team Flash are taking advantage of that. Only 2 more left from Sam9, but it might just be none by the end of this. Zen OP down, Fikri out. Sam9 seemingly have met their maker, and Team Flash keeps on going.
Well, so much for Castle's Curse right there. I was saying long live Sam9, but nope. We didn't live long, actually. It's in spite of assassinating the king of gamers there. But Flash certainly are on a roll now, having the high ground in this circle here. That's going to give them a lot of advantage, especially against Expand, especially now that Axis has already been taken out of the equation. It is very much a 3v4 at the moment. Expand loses their Too Fast now. Cobra, the Axel, and X-Roy now trying to spot out Flash's positions on the hillside here. Axel now having only those crates for cover. I don't know whether they have enough blue walls to really use in this fight, though, because remember, early on they burnt a lot of it trying to fight against Farang, and now against Team Flash, you know, with being up on the hill there, they really need those glue walls now more than ever, as they now burn out the last of those glue walls inside their kits. But then with Flash just constantly taking shots at a distance here, Expand, can they even advance close enough to try to meet Flash with the grenade launchers and shotguns?
They have outran the blue zone, but just like you said, Team Flash in prime position for Booyah. They're going to pressure Yanbin. Can Expand do it?
Nice.
Yanbin down. Expand getting the head start in this one, but watch out for Bloody though. This guy supporting his team from behind the boulder. Expand, they might be losing ground as well. Not out just yet. The circle not in their favor, and a good nade. If Team Flash keeping this within touching distance, it's a 2 versus 2. Is Roy at the helm of this, alongside Cobra, the close quarter combat expert from Expand, will have to do magic. Do not let Flash get the second Booyah. They're going in for the rush. One final push from Roy, straight into a grenade launcher, and it was never meant to be his in the first place. Cobra now, the miracle child of his team, and there's not much space for him to work with. Pressure from long range, rush in close range. Cobra needs to win the 1 versus 1. Gets the isolation, buys some time. Get X-Roy back up. He patches himself first. Roy is back up on his feet. The ice grenade though is there, and Team Flash just too good. 2 Booyahs in a row. Team Flash are on the board.
They are certainly up there, ladies and gentlemen. Team Flash from Vietnam, 2 Booyahs back to back now. They're establishing themselves as king of the hill here. If they can't get the king of gamers, at least this crown will do.
A blast to the past, a trip down memory lane for Expand. Just could not overcome Team Flash. Not at the world stage, not on the regional stage as well. Something that it seems like it came back to haunt Expand in just, within 1 month. But Team Flash, props to them. Just great control towards that end game.
I mean, it would be extra salty given that, Expand was on the verge of, trying to get that booyah, and they just couldn't knock down Bayo. Bayo was so far forward. It's such a risky position, but then they literally have used up all of the glue walls they had at that moment, and really were just hurting for finding any piece of cover to use in that final circle. And first Raiders, we didn't get to see this fight actually. He just opened it up literally by running someone over the motorcycle, and but that grenade though, that really finished things off right there. But yeah, I think overall here, Expand really had their best shot, so far of getting into that booyah, just kind of cut short by literally their arch nemesis in the form of Team Flash. And Sam9 as well. I mean, brilliant play by Newbie. I mean, using the grenade launcher's kind of blast aerial effect really allowed them to just get a perfect flank off of there and eliminate King of Gamers. But unfortunately, Flash already was so set up on his hillside, they caught anyone trying to wander into their zone, and Sam9 unfortunately had to be the one to take all the brunt of that damage.
Yeah, and Expand, right? They did kind of make the right call. They needed to push these really small moments. Bayo, just like you pointed out, the last man to kind of keep Team Flash alive, and at one point was able to get enough support from Bloody, who was untouched in that final fight. Expand just could not find him at all. Team Flash getting 25 points off of this one round, but Expand, they also did a fantastic job. 19 points, kind of what they need to keep themselves in the running, where Sam9 finished this round with 14.
V Gaming Esports in the meantime, only a single point in this round, and that effort to try to chip away at Sam9's lead, as all that kind of effort in those previous rounds now gone back completely to square one, I think, because Sam9 is going to continue to solidify the position. Even though they only got 14 points, it's still good enough for third here. MDH and Heavy as well, being very consistent, being consistently part of the top 6 in these rounds here. So very good job so far from all of the Vietnamese squads. Axis Esports also getting themselves into the mix as well, catching up an 8th place finish here, despite the fact they were only able to be good enough for 1 kill so far.
Yeah, and Axis always has been pretty consistent with those placement points, but again, right, when we look at Free Fire as a whole, you need to start getting those kills. And Axis also kind of facing a slump, right? I mean, when they debuted with their current roster, it was just frags all in, day out, a lot of clutch from players like Neptune, but I feel like they have been neutered in the past few months. Team Flash though, definitely still on the rise, just like the logo kind of signifies, definitely on fire. 2 booyahs on the first day, and we still have 2 more rounds to go.
Yeah, they have a burning desire to get into those final circles, and finally it's really paying off with them now in these last 2 maps, Purgatory and Alpine. So let's see whether or not Team Flash can keep it up as we go back to Bermuda in the next round. So it's going to be a kind of a fresh start again for some of these squads here to see whether or not they can find the rhythm back again here. But that's part of the challenge when it comes to phase 2, a different kind of map rotation, more matches being played per day. So that also runs the risk of some squads kind of reaching that burnout point, especially for teams that are not able to perform, like MDH, MDH as well
anxiety
as
is one of them, right?
Anxiety as well, in spite of the fact they really were doing more or less kind of same things that worked out for them in phase 1. Doesn't seem to have worked out well for them in phase 2 so far.
Yeah, very worrying sight for the sole Philippine representative in the tournament. But of course, it's still the early stage of phase 2, and we wouldn't even have phase 2 without our partners over at Snapdragon Elite Gaming when winning matters. Heck, we won't even have phase 1 to begin with, let alone phase 2. So these guys, again, we've been working with them for 2 seasons. They are absolutely incredible, and we also gotta thank Samsung Galaxy for being a part of this journey. They recently, become one of our family, and we welcome them with open arms, and we hope that this journey is gonna be a great voyage as it has always been. But on top of that, we gotta show appreciation to Monster Energy for allowing everyone to unleash the beast within them check them out at www.monsterenergy.com/gaming. And last but not least, if you want to look for the best deals and top-ups, you want the great ones, you want the sublime ones, look no further than www.kachishop.com to get the best possible deal. With that being said, we are still 2 rounds away from ending the day, so more Free Fire actions coming up. But the one thing that's coming up is a short break, so we'll be right back for more Free Fire action.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Galaxy Z Fold 4, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Straight up like, wait, who us now? What you gon' do when we pull up on you like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when I come through you. Ooh, shut down. Say, ooh, shut down. Say, ooh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up like, wait, who us now? What you gon' do when we pull up on you like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when we come through you. Ooh, shut down. Shut down. Ooh, give me that crown. I need that now, right now. Ooh, don't make a sound. It's my time. You hear the crowd. Hey, we need that rain. Me and my team. Deja vu. This here a dream. We done all seen 100 times over back when we was just teens. Now we going dumb. Told them we the one. They would count us out. Now we counting up the funds. Now without a doubt, they be throwing up the ones. Like they was always rapping. I believe them if you want. Now they show love. Came with a dub. It is what it is. Say, oh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up like, wait, who us now? What you gonna do when we when we pull up on you, that's ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when we come through. Ooh, shut down. Ooh, shut down. Ooh.
Round number 5 coming up for the Snapdragon Pro Series Free Fire Challenge Group Stage Phase 2. My name is Husky alongside Victor Cax with me. We're going back to Bermuda to kind of reset the map pool a little bit. We've just witnessed Team Flash get 2 Booyah. So now if they get another 2, they will have completed the achievement of gathering Booyahs on every single map in a single day.
I know, right? That's a kind of coveted achievement, actually. Not something that we tend to see a lot, especially in these high-level competitions, but Team Flash seem to be on a trajectory to do so. But is Purgatory and Alpine the kind of maps that work out for them, though? Because now we're coming back to Bermuda once more, but then with Flash already having themselves on form, Sem9 also themselves literally in top form for today, it's going to be quite a tight fight, going into this the final rounds for the day.
I mean, Sem9 is just making sure that even if they're not winning the rounds, they are expanding the lead, right? Still at the top with a massive advantage, 191.5 points, expand, squeezing it into second place and also getting a decent cushion for themselves with 168.5. Team Flash making it to third place, V Gaming Esports just slightly behind them. KOG shows up in fifth and Heavy to round out the first page. So it's like you called it 2 rounds earlier, Vietnam on the rise, baby!
Yeah,
alongside with some of our Malaysian teams and KOG.
I mean, shout out to Team Flash though, because like they started off the day, I believe, in the second page. They were kind of like in 7th and then lowest at 8th place by the end of the first round. But then now they just caught up. They literally overtook V Gaming Esports to be now the top Vietnamese squad here in phase number 2 by 2 points in total. So, wow, I mean, what a meteoric rise has been for Team Flash. They certainly want to try to challenge Sem9 and expand for the lead overall in phase 2 now, and they certainly are within range to do it.
Yeah, and just just for day one's sake, for context, if you guys wondering why is there 0.5, it's because these teams, they didn't make it through into phase 1. So coming into phase 2, we have basically chopped their total points in half. This is why some of them have decimals. So if you think that Free Fire is a very clutch battle royale, wait till you see that 0.5 make a difference. We're going into the last 2 rounds, and that means some more teams to watch out for with DEWA United Esports and Access Esports, who are still struggling on the second page. But we have Heavy, who is really doing a lot of that work, especially Buffalo. This guy has been putting the team on his shoulders and dragging them over the finishing line.
Yeah, we didn't really get to say much about DEWA United Esports because they started the day off in like the first page, and then now they're already dropping all the way towards where Access Esports and Anxiety are. So this is looking like DEWA also in a bit of a slump in phase number 2 here. Wonder whether it's a consequence of like not really having enough kind of like opportunities to get good fights there. But even in the fights we did see, DEWA United sometimes find themselves in very awkward sort of like positions.
Yeah, this is a very a very tight schedule for them as well, right? They only have 1 day of break between phase 1 and the start of phase 2, and that's Sunday. So maybe DEWA United just need a bit more time, but all of this made possible because it is powered by our friends over at Samsung Galaxy. They've been a big part of this tournament, our recent addition. So this voyage just gets better and better. We've been doing this for 6 months, and I'm looking forward to the next 6 months and another 6 months after that, and for the next decade.
Yeah, I'm going to be very curious. I mean, again, like I would love to be able to get my hands on like a Fold 4 and just try this out for myself using the phone while it's still folded. I think that kind of like
improves the gyro experience, I assume. Maybe.
Perhaps. I mean, it gives you something a little bit more chunky to hold in the hand, I think. Kind of like a DS. But nevertheless, though, speaking of chunky things to come, ladies and gentlemen, Jakarta is on the table here because guess what? Grand Finals is going to be happening there on the 4th to 5th of February next year. So make sure, if you're especially a fanatic of Free Fire, make sure you don't miss out this opportunity to meet some of the top Free Fire teams in this MCP region because they're all going to be over there fighting for the grand prize of $65,000. You don't want to miss the clutch moments that will come out from that grand finals. I assure you there will be plenty of those kind of moments there.
Okay, just to put it out there, next year is going to be a big year for Jakarta. A lot of events are happening there. This is one of them, so cancel your plans. Right? If you know about other events, cancel that. Well, actually, don't cancel that, but make time for this finals because, you know, I think the Indonesian fans will be really happy because they have two teams already locked in for the finals. You have SCS Alpine, you have Esports Divine, who had a miraculous run in the end, towards the end of Phase 1. But if you are, you know, a true Indonesian fan, you will want all Indonesian teams to make it through. And, you know, good news is that, well, actually bad news, they're both on the second page. Good news is that there are more rounds to come. Round number 5 kicks off right now in Bermuda.
Yeah, let's see whether or not DEWA will be able to keep themselves out of this slump. First Raiders as well have not had the best of luck so far, so we're going to be keeping an eye out for them in this round. While King of Gamers now having a hot drop in the middle of a fight with Team Flash, and perhaps even DEWA might try to get in the mix, but it seems like they want to pull away from this little gunfight that's happening between King of Gamers and Flash, as they are already getting some knockdowns here. Time Turner is already brought out into one of the members of Flash, so that's making it a little bit harder here for Kevin77 to actually make a good shot there. He's going to try to wrap around the warehouse here, but we see Bloody also taking to the high ground here, perhaps to try to be a bit of an insurance here in case Team Flash loses out in this fight.
Yeah, Team Flash needs to get away from this because KOG has had enough of Team Flash winning rounds. And Darko did go down though, Shin catching him on the way of his great escape. Team Flash just getting value wherever they go. But they might run the heavy though. Bloody is not looking too healthy. He is definitely battered and bruised and bloody as KOG continues to put on the pressure. Oh, he has been getting clipped at the edge. Shin has to hide behind the tree, but this could spell the end for Team Flash.
Oh, if I was Flash, I would just stay on the top of the hill there because you know the King of Game is going to come chase you. You know, if you decide to pull away from this battle, you know you're going to get a lot of shots from the back. And just like that, Team Flash not going to be able to get another back-to-back booyah, unfortunately. They have been taken out in 12th place.
Yeah, KOG really happy with that turn of events. This team has the patience has ran out. It's no more playing nice. They're here. So far, we don't have a single region that sent all their teams straight to the finals. And KOG is definitely kind of the sole hope for Thailand to get the full family in Jakarta. Turned into a Thai league, or it was a Thai league in Phase 1, to be very fair.
Kind of true, yeah, unfortunately. But nevertheless, King of Gamers is the last one to carry the flag here for Taiwan in this phase, so we certainly have a lot of hopes on them, given that
I mean, Thailand.
I did say Thailand, didn't I?
You say no, you didn't say Thailand.
Oh no, I did. My goodness.
Thailand. Don't worry, got you.
Right, so FARANG got a kill on the Dark Hole yet again. Dark Hole. What was he doing in that fight against Team Flash? Now he's going to get caught up here against FARANG. FARANG Jumbo with the Mag 10 yet again, making magic work for himself as he finishes off these two members of First Raiders to get 2 kill points for FARANG. So now let's see whether or not First Raiders are going to try to respond to this. A UAV has been brought out though, so that's going to force them to try to turn around and find some better cover because they're going to get discovered if the UAV sees them. So this is giving initiative now for FARANG trying to move forward here. They're going to have to keep an eye out because knowing that First Raider is going to be setting up an ambush point here, they don't necessarily want to walk into the compound without knowing where First Raiders are camped at.
Yeah, it's a painful death if you get shot into oblivion by the medic gun. It is. It's not a good feeling. That's a big flex from Jembao. He has been known as one of the more proficient close quarter combat guys, and with the Uzi in hand, it's a death wish if you try to challenge him in those 1 versus 1. So kind of a great mistake from First Raiders' part. Good news is that there's a buy point. Bad news is that they don't have enough resource to buy the teammates back.
Yeah, so one of the members of First Raiders is Souza is going to be running off to try to find another proper revive point here, while Call is going to try to hold the line here against Farang, who has control over the revive point as close as them. So Souza is going to have to search quite far and wide there, probably going all the way to peak actually, which is going to literally put Call in a solo battle against Farang now. Two Bat's already moving up to that position here. We also see Jembal closing in onto the positions of the position of that last member of FR who's still sticking around. Call now just holding position here, hearing the footsteps now literally next door. He sees Too Bad taking the jump. He gets spotted through the window now, tries to go for the shotgun blast, gets the knockdown here, puts a glue wall just in time. Now ducks inside, but now he's going to be cornered completely in the freeze. Grenade is going to freeze him in spot there, so that should be a dead Call there very, very soon.
Did the best he could. These kind of situations, you just have to at least do your best to cripple the enemy. Ecal pretty much done and dusted. Luckily for First Raiders, they are still kicking. It's barely alive with Souza still running for the hills. There's no revival points nearby, so this is gonna be the long march for First Raiders Eclipse.
Yeah, outside of the guns, I don't think Souza is doing well in terms of farm either, only having 2 glue walls and 2 grenades left, so they're going to have a lot of ground to cover if he does manage to revive the rest of his team. But nevertheless, though, we're going to be riding together with Axis Esports as they pick up a vehicle close to plantation. Oh, found a little mushroom. That's going to be nice and tasty there for Neptune. A good little buff to keep him going for the rest of this next circle here. While the rest of Axis fan out a little bit, trying to find even more loot. Things going to be kind of slow, which is kind of normal for Bermuda, especially during the early phase. Though, you know, the first round of the day was definitely a more exciting one. This time around, I think teams are taking a little bit safer approach when it comes to these next few circles, though, because they know one really bad mistake and that could send you literally to the next page.
Finally, a slower start. We have had 4 high-octane matches. This is one of those few that the teams that decided to take a back seat. I mean, you're pretty tired if you're running and gunning for 4 games in a row. And, you know, some of these teams have not had the best start. MDH being one of those. It's constantly getting punished wherever they go. But, you know, Team Flash finally hitting a speed bump thanks to KOG.
It's more or less a speed bump, more like a speed wall, really, because it got taken out with 0 points. So that's gonna sting a little bit, especially after taking those back-to-back booyahs. But I think conversely, this, you know, I think this also became a signal for the other squads so that, okay, things are gonna be a lot more open now. One of the really strong teams is already out. We only got like Sam9 to worry about, maybe even Expand as well. You know, Heavy might also...
The list is growing, Victor.
I know, right? It's gonna grow by the second here on this round because all of them just gathering their way towards the circle. Looks like VGM has just spotted one of the members of Sam9 newbie, has been caught out a little bit in the crossfire. Anxiety as well getting to a bit of a gunfight right now together with Expand on the southern side of the circle. We're right now on board with VGM as they attempt to try to take control over this western side of the circle.
Pinsu is on that bite, looking to go on an exploration. So sniff out where the members of Sam9 are. But can't go too far though. That bridge in the middle, kind of separating these two battles, kind of being the midpoint of this battle is not make it easy. Axis straight into the compounds, into the face of FARANG. Neptune leading the charge. FARANG already starting this one with a man disadvantage. Can they do this? Jembao has a green launcher in hand as Axis slowly goes for the push. Raph is incredibly low and needs some time. Jembao landing the good one onto Vegeta. He's down. And Jembao on the side, unattended. And he's going to continue doing those chip damage. This is not looking good for Axis. They need to push on forward, but Jembao is keeping his team alive and the flow space fine too. The coordination is there. And Axis put to rest. FARANG still kicking, 7 points and going.
Wow, just taking out one of the other Malaysian teams, but oh, look at who's coming to crash the party. VGM came over the hills and far away to catch up to FARANG here, getting one catch onto one of their members. Now they're going to put some shots into Too Bad while Bingsu and Boite meet them right now, face to face. Jembal hold up inside the building. Blue walls being used here to try to close out those windows. Boite now trying to wrap around to see if he can catch Jemble out, but Jemble is already peeled back and rejoined his teammate here to make it a duo. But with Spade already out of the picture, and quite interestingly here, FARANG actually entered this match here with only 3 members of the squad. One of them didn't quite make it to the lobby in time, it seems. So they're definitely fighting, you know, with one hand tied behind the back at the moment, and VGM still having a full squad, still having full health, are making things kind of hard for them. Spade has been brought back into the fight though, but will he be able to join them in this fight? That's too bad now. Struggling to try to hold his own, putting up as many glue walls as he can, burning his entire kit right now to try to make an escape. Unfortunately, it's still Vantan is on the chase. One more wall is going to be brought out to try to block the entrance here for Vantan, so he's going to be forced to take the longer way around. He's giving a bit of time now for Jemble and Too Bad to try to peel away. Too Bad is already far away while Jemble still holds his ground. Oh, what jump there! But can Vantan take him out just in time? No, he gets away scot-free.
I just want to say the mechanical prowess, the showmanship is dead. The mechanics so clean from the FARANG boys. They are out of that. Even got the revive just now. MDH now takes on DEWA United, the 2 teams to weapon. Not really having a great day so far, but it seems like MDH will get the shorter end of the stick. DEWA United running them down. Bams in the front line. MDH getting a challenge. Icky winning this one and brings the rest of his squad to join in. Fight was never fair for MDH in the beginning, and DEWA United still kicking out First Raiders. You want to crash the party, but unfortunately, Rain will take your head off. They are just coming in one by one. Eco, the next one in Rain's crosshair. Can First Raiders even do any damage? It feels like that's not going to be the case. Expand, on the other hand, caught out by also DEWA United. And these guys just could not catch a break, but they are holding their ground pretty well so far.
Well, Renz is taking a lot of damage. He's going to hold up behind, and as Cobra moves forward, he gets a knockdown to Bams. Can he find Renz as well? Renz is trying to run away using the glue wall cover. Glue walls get broken down. Cobra now desperate to try to get close enough to get the shotgun blast full force onto them. But Trouble will be the one that will actually catch them out. Too fast sends another one out there, trying to see if he can flush out the rest of DEWA. Renz is the last one standing. Not anymore though, it's Too Fast, Too Furious takes him out.
That is the Cobra that we love to see in the front line, making sure that he stays alive, and just the amount of pressure that Cobra was putting on DEWA United is unbelievable. Gets one takedown and suddenly the rest of the DEWA United just scattered. Really felt uncharacteristic to a certain extent, but we have no time for that, and we gotta look at VGM again. This is the team that started the day in second place, but right now is kind of suffering a bit of a slump. FARANG though caught in the middle, haven't really caught a break so far. Too Bad is down and out. Jembo, the last man alive, might not be for long. Have to keep himself hidden for as long as possible. Got to play that placement points from this point onwards.
You see, there's a problem when you go to the center of the circle very early on. It means you got to be able to cover all angles all around. North, south, east, and west are all covered with literally with multiple squads now who are also fighting against each other. Heavy now trying to find a fight against First Raiders. We got Mill now going very aggressively forward here, but he's backed up by Tom XC, who does get the kill with the MP40. So now I don't think there's any other members of FR close by here. Heavy is now being swamped by the blue zone. FARANG in the meantime getting eliminated by VGM as they wander into the wrong neck of the woods there. VGM holding their own in the circle, landing on top of them. This is working out perfect here. Can they get the booyah?
A very crowded circle, but not the outskirts. Expand, gate kept by Anxiety. The clash of 2 teams who know each other far too well for their own good. It's going to be a very exciting, turn of events. Anxiety, last place. Has been last place since the first day of the tournament, and they're still in last place. Gotta get some points going if they want to even have a chance to kind of contend for the qualification spot. KOG under heavy pressure, able to bring both Knight and JLX back, but they will take some time. There's not much safe zone for them to kind of wriggle around, so that parachute is going to have limited space to drop, to descend. Sem9 not having any kills so far, a more quiet game, but they have the whole squad alive, and now Too Fast kind of supporting Cobra to pressure Anxiety. Can they do so though? The push has now commenced.
Yeah, indeed. And this neighborhood is not big enough to fit 7 squads. Some of them are going to have to give, and maybe Anxiety might be next on the menu. As Shomai struggles to try to find an angle here against this member of Expand.
What?
And no, he's the one that gets sniped out though with the AWP coming in. So the Axel kicking that last shot right now, forcing Anxiety to kind of plant themselves in this spot. In the meantime, Anxiety finds Zusa in the, right around the outside, and he's going to be knocked down. So I think First Raiders are not going to be long for this world now. and a triple kill from the Axel is going to be able to put a nice little cherry on top here for Expand as they're still 3-man strong.
Yeah, Cobra running circles around Shomai just now and just letting Axel get a free hit from long range. Coordination is unreal. VGM caught in the crossfire, not invited to the party, but forced to be a part of it anyways. Anxiety split up, one in the blue zone, Toby under fire. Expand also heavily pressured by these squad, but look at the circle! Decides to move away from most of the population towards Expand. The tournament event is definitely unprecedented for all of the squads, and this is gonna be a slugfest. Everyone gunning for the safe zone. KOG the nearest to that.
Oh, if you're the squad who has already burned all your glue walls, you're just gonna be so frustrated at this next circle position. But for those who still have glue walls left in the kit, this is gonna be perfect for them because they will have the advantage going in.
The zone is closing in.
Zone is closing in already. Dalko is caught outside on the zone. Looks like he's just going to be going for those placement points now. No point for him trying to get in the mix of this because there's still plenty of 4-man and 3-man squads still fighting in this competition here. Osaka is still on the high ground here together with the rest of King of Gamers. They're going to try to gatekeep Expand, but a good shot there from Too Fast knocks down Knight. In the meantime, Tom XT gets a kill onto Sam9, so Sam9 is going to be out of competition so far. 4 more squads still remain. Another grenade puts down Osaka. Knight is still there, but not anymore. Knight is gone. Daytime is here.
Yeah, and it's daytime for Expand. Axel really pulling his weight when the team needed him the most, but VGM is going to be the second challenger to push into Expand. Heavy with 11 kills so far, and they're still going.
Whoa.
Cobra, once more the only survivor for Expand. Can he do this though? The entire village of VGM hot on the heels. Cobra left to his own devices. Heavy also pushing in. This seems like it's going to be the end for Expand really soon. VGM goes down. Cobra in a 1 versus 4. It will not be meant to be if it's not Team Flash. It's gonna be Heavy. Vietnam, the bane of Expand, and this time it will be Heavy that gets the booyah.
First one in phase 2 for Team Heavy here, and I think this was in the works for a long time, especially with the skills shown by Mill now from Buffalo. Heavy, the squad, looking a lot more relieved rather than excited from having pulled off that booyah.
We have 5 rounds so far, buddy. 4 of those rounds, guess what? Taken by Vietnam teams. 2 for Team Flash, 1 for VGM, and 1 for Heavy.
Hey, score 1 for my hot takes, isn't it?
No longer a hot take, right? Now this is reality. Let it
Yep.
sink in for a bit. Vietnam on the rise. It's just Sam9 is keeping the MCPS hopes alive. Well, Expand is also doing pretty fine, second place, but slipped away again, and that was with the help of the circle. The game was like, you know what, Expand, take the safe zone, but unfortunately they just did not have enough to hold on, and it's not their fault, it's just the circumstances. Congratulations to Heavy though, it's been a long time coming. Wanted them to really get that booyah because we know what Heavy is capable of after that showsmanship from Buffalo. Now the whole team able to pull each other through the finishing line.
Yeah, finally. I mean, again, you can tell from the look of relief on their faces that that was not a very easy booyah to take even, because the circumstances just kept changing circle after circle, and it really came down to this final slog here, to the final slog in the final circle that really determined it all. But score 1 for the Mobile Masters in this game so far though. We've been seeing plenty of great grenade kills and great grenade launcher kills as well in this competition. And I think no less is really the players that have mastered the use of this weapon here has really shown that it is not only just viable, I think it's kind of necessary at this point in this current meta to have someone who is really good enough to get those kills done with that grenade launcher. Because look at that, just like that, King of Gamers getting themselves completely knocked out of place there. And Expand only just unfortunate that Cobra was the last person standing, but he still put up a valiant effort though, still had plenty of glue walls to burn, and was still able to get some kill points to at least buff up whatever sort of points that Expand has. And look at that, 21, and definitely a big chunk of that, it was thanks to Cobra's effort.
Yeah, Cobra, I honestly, the whole team really had an amazing game. This is the Expand that you look at it, you're like, yeah, this is Expand every day. Just hope that they will stay that. And so far today has been a consistent day for Expand. So great news for Expand fans, really showing up, and this is by no means taking anything away from them, but it's a relief. It's a side of relief to see Expand kind of putting themselves up there round after round. Heavy though, 27 points, nothing much that we can expect more out of this round. This is one of the best performances that they have. King of Gamers 13, FARANG making 10, V Gaming getting 10, and DEWA United having a better round compared to the ones that they had. And this, coincidentally, is also one of Anxiety's better rounds and one of Sem9's more underwhelming ones.
Yes, definitely underwhelming for Team Flash and MDH. I mean, MDH actually has been underwhelming all day, to be fair, so they're still yet to catch a break so far. But then, yeah, I think for DEWA though, you know, even though this is kind of like good enough for 6th place, I feel that they still need to have a bigger differential compared to others, simply because of how far back they are in points, you know, when you tally the overall standings at this point. So a little bit more like last circle performances is going to be needed out of DEWA's side. For Heavy though, you know, finally they got the booyah they've been looking for all day long. Now is the question whether or not they can find the last one here, because we've got only one more round to go.
Yeah, this is by no means the Vietnam League, even though Vietnam teams have gotten 4 booyahs in a row, everyone stepping up to the plate. We're going back to Kalahari next. That's going to be very interesting. We've seen kind of how these teams decide their drop zone. You know, MDH, they did go to Refinery to challenge FARANG, that ended poorly for them. We also saw Expand taking a very good foothold in command post, but I expect a lot to change going into the final round. But so far, it seems like today is the Vietnam flag, day in, day out. It's always on the victory screen. Let's see if they can close it out in the final round. But before that, everyone's going to get some time to catch a break. We will be right back just in a short bit.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Galaxy Z Fold 4, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
สวัสดีครับผมเด็กหลงครับมาจากทีม Esports ครับตำแหน่งยิงเกมลีดเดอร์ครับมาจากประเทศไทยครับผมเราก็ปรับตัวเราก็ทดลองทุกอย่างครับจนกว่าเราจะเล่นได้ครับผมปัจจุบันตอนนี้ก็เจอแล้วครับก็เน้นทั้ง2อย่างครับผมทั้งตัวละครทั้งปืนครับถ้าดูก็น่าจะเป็นทีมไทยด้วยกันเนี่ยนะครับแต่ต่างประเทศก็ไม่ใช่ไม่เก่งครับต่างประเทศก็เก่งแต่ถ้าน่ากลัวจริงก็น่าจะเป็นไทยด้วยกันมากกว่าก็ลิกมากนะครับก็ด้วยฟอร์มการเล่นของทีมเขาด้วยครับเขาก็มาตรฐานสูงครับผมแล้วก็ทุกคนนะครับส่วนมากคนในทีมผมส่วนมากถ้าในการแข่งขันจะไม่ค่อยแบบว่าด่ากันเองจะบัฟเพิ่มกันให้กำลังใจกันตลอดมากกว่าจะบัฟกันตลอดถ้าตัวแบกผมว่าน่าจะให้สไนด์น่าจะโมชิเพราะส่วนมากจะเหลือมันคนเดียวครับเพราะมันอยู่หลังสุดก็การไฟครับผมแล้วก็การสื่อสารของพวกเราดีอยู่แล้วครับก็สกิลเพลย์แต่ละคนก็อันดับต้นๆของประเทศอยู่แล้วครับถ้าตามมาตรฐานของทีมก็ 1-2 ครับผมไม่เกินนี้ครับมันเป็นมาตรฐานที่เราทำมาตั้งนานแล้วเราแข่ง3 ปีเราไม่เคยหลุดจากคำว่า1ว่า2เลยครับมันเตรียมแบบว่ามันเฉพาะหน้าด้วยครับแล้วก็เตรียมไปด้วยมันก็มีครับแต่ว่ามันจะใช้เฉพาะหน้ามากกว่าแบบ70 กับ 30% นะครับพี่70ก็คือเฉพาะหน้าก็คือเราพอลงไปมันจะเป็นอีกรูปแบบเกมหนึ่งมันต้องดูหลายอย่างครับพี่แต่แผนนั้นเรามีเตรียมไปอยู่แล้วครับไม่ได้เน้นอะไรครับก็คือเล่นปกติเล่นเต็มที่แน่นอนนะครับ
6, we like 10-0. I should probably tell them something that they didn't know. Back then we was down with nowhere to go. Might have been down, but we didn't fold. Now we running it like some intervals. Ooh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up. Like, wait, who? Us now. What you gon' do when we pull up on you? Like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when I come through you. Ooh, shut down. Say, ooh, shut down. Say, ooh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up. Like, wait, who? Us now. What you gon' do when we pull up on you? Like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when we come through you. Ooh, shut down. Ooh, shut down. Ooh, give me that crown. I need that now, right now. Ooh, don't make a sound. It's my time. this here a dream. We done all seen 100 times over back when we was just teens. Now we going dumb, told them we the one. They would count us out, now we counting up the funds. Now without a doubt, now we throwing other ones. Like they was always rapping, now believe them if you want. Now they show love, came with a dub. It is what it is, it isn't what it was. They all love to hate when it don't work out. Tell you that they always been down when it does. Look. Say, oh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up. Like, wait, who us now? What you gonna do when we pull up on you? Like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when we come through. Ooh, shut down. Ooh, shut down. Say, ooh, what now? Tell me who you see when you look straight up. Like, wait, who us now? What you gonna do when we pull up on you? Like, ooh, touchdown. You already know what it is when we come through. Ooh, shut down. Ooh, shut down. Ooh.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience because finally we're here at the final round of the day. My name is Victor Cax. Joining me here is Husky. We're going to be bringing you guys the last round for day one of phase number 2. That's quite a mouthful actually now that I completely said it out loud. But nevertheless though, now that we're seeing the rise of Vietnam with Team Flash taking back-to-back booyahs and then now heavy games in the mix as well, will we also see MDH finally get themselves together enough to get into the final circle? Well, we're going to be finding that out real soon here. But Husky, what's your take on the situation though?
I mean, Vietnam is having a great day. I think everyone's going to stay up for this one. We're going to take a look at the overall standings while we slowly break down. My take on it is, aside from Vietnam having a great day, Sam9 and Expand are also experiencing a high as well. Now, Expand, no booyahs, no problem. They're keeping themselves very close. And in fact, they started the day kind of at, 4th to 6th, if I'm not mistaken. But right now, they are literally on tail of Sam9. And it's just one good round before Expand takes the lead by the end of this one.
Exactly, and the thing is that Sam9 has also been pushing very hard in this first day, but so far it's only netted a single booyah. They have definitely been racking up those kill points though, so that's certainly helping them a lot in this effort in order to try to stay on top of the overall standings. Meanwhile, on the other side of things here, FARANG, despite of having a couple of good rounds actually for them, it's still not enough to get them in that top 6 because King of Gamers Club has finally shown up to the party here and started to net a lot more kills, so this is putting a lot more pressure on FARANG to try to perform. MDH as well, one of the only Vietnamese squads still stuck in that second page here, still struggling to try to find a good round for themselves, and looks like this will be the last shot for today. DEWA United Esports started there in the first page, now they're finding themselves on the second page. Even though their match recovers somewhat, they're still finding themselves behind both FARANG and MDH, so kind of looking like they need to kind of step it up a lot more and break themselves away from this pack.
Yeah, especially for MDH and DEWA United Esports. These two teams have had an abysmal day after round number 1. Just could not get anything going, losing all these hard draws, getting picked up in the early rounds is just a brutal day for these two. I mean, MDH, like, you just have, even if we take away just one bad round, they would still be in top 6 probably. And all of this though, we wouldn't get to see these storylines without our partners and good friends. So we gotta show our appreciation to them, and this is none other than Monster Energy, allowing everyone to unleash the beast within them. So do check them out at www.monsterenergy.com/gaming. And do you know that they actually have this one cap that you can screw on a can of Monster Energy if you're not drinking it, and turn it into like a bottle, so like you won't spill it. It's really nice. I have it. One of the best inventions in the history of mankind.
Yeah, indeed. Allows you to...
That's above Thomas Edison and the light bulb.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Thomas Edison can be buried, very much so. So thank you so much for Monster Energy for powering the energy required to keep us going through the Snapdragon Pro Series for 2 seasons now. They've been behind us on this journey, so we thank them a lot for their support. But now coming into this next map here, Kalahari, I mean, you know, one of the talking points we had during the first phase of the competition is like map advantage when it comes to a lot of teams here. But then out of the squads that you see here before you, who do you think is going to have the best kind of like advantage when it comes to Kalahari? I know that like FARANG, for example, they used to be very much powerhouses when it comes to this specific map. So what do you think is kind of went wrong for them so far?
I just feel like teams are starting to figure out what FARANG does on Kalahari. I mean, locally in the MCPS region, they were uncontested for a good 1 month plus, but I think Axis was the first team that really exposed the weaknesses in FARANG's constant strat to just take Refinery every single Kalahari round, and now you bring them to the regional stage. A lot of teams, you know, not from Thailand, from Vietnam, from Indonesia, some of them also like Kalahari, and we saw how Team Flash just rushed FARANG on that second round and completely took them out. So I think FARANG kind of needs to adapt a bit more, have that contingency plan, which has been lacking on a map like Kalahari.
So speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and jump straight into the party now. Out in the desert here, together with our 12 squads. The plane is making its way from north to south, and even split across the board here as teams fan out completely. Who's going to be the one to make it to Mammoth though? That's where the high tier loot zone is, and 7-9 seems to be making a beeline straight for it.
FARANG again, Refinery with MDH. Last time this happened, MDH didn't get to play the game at all, but maybe things will take a turn for the better with Spade being the first one to go down. MDH getting a kill after what seems like an eternity for themselves. But FARANG, they're not a team that will give away Refinery. This is their battlefield. This is their house. They live and die by Refinery. But MDH, they have that head start, and FARANG might just have to concede their home turf for now.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not. It depends on whether or not MDH will be successful in pushing them off. But the thing is, we also King of Gamers and First Raiders are starting to creep in as well. So things might start to heat up here on the platforms. X-Roy using the grapple gun to get himself up on top. So Expand is also trying to get in on this party too. Nuke slots out too bad, tries to shoot him from the crate side. X-Roy in the meantime gets caught out, and he's going to be on the ground, taken out completely by Jezeboo. So FARANG is still trying to hold their ground.
Yeah, this is just Expand. I mean, we praise them a lot for sticking together, but we are seeing the split from Expand. I mean, Roy making that move just very, very questionable, giving that 3 point to FARANG. They can revive the teammate, sure, but do that in the first place. DNB, no, not going to be able to make it to safety. In fact, drops right in front of JL Lex, who might be able to pick up that kill. I mean, KOG in the vicinity.
No, watch out.
As Darko swings with Soda. Good tag team play, taking out JL Lex. What an explosive start.
I didn't know this was a mega sale because you could buy one and get one for free. And the King of Gamers was just donating points now to First Raiders. They're literally trying to gatekeep whoever decides to pull out this battle here. And it seems like with FARANG holding their ground, and now a UAV is being brought out, exposing a lot of their positions on the map now. This is giving initiative for Too Fast to try to get up in front here, to try to force Call off of the platform. Sends a trouble his way. Is that going to land? Not quite. Just get stopped short by the container. Now Too Fast wraps around the other side, tries to go for hand-to-hand, but didn't quite work out because Kyle already had the bonfire up, already was ready with the shot, with the rifle. So now he takes away that kill point there, and looks like First Raiders will be one taking control over Refinery.
And they're gonna rest at the bonfire, take a swig from the Estus flask. FARANG left with just one guy, and this is kind of the problem that ties back to what we were discussing, right? FARANG, this very telegraph move, with time, it's gonna get exposed. It's gonna get more and more weak with teams understanding how FARANG wants to hold on to Refinery. Kind of the reluctance to just abandon ship, I think, that caused FARANG this round.
I think it's also like, come to think of it as well, the grapple gun has been such a game changer, but I think more so in a map like Kalahari, where in the past, just holding the high ground was just massively unfair for every other squad. FARANG has been enjoying that kind of advantage for so far, but now with the grapple gun, that kind of evened the odds already and made it easier for people to just rapidly reposition themselves. 66 Raph in the meantime getting caught out in the middle here, and with the glue wall buster being brought out, there's no way he's going to be able to use any of the ones in his kit right now to try to get himself out of position. He's going to have to wait to see whether or not Vegeta and Neptune are going to be able to open up a flank here to allow him some space in order to escape this very awkward spot. But VGM just continuing to hound them, taking the highest spot in confinement right now, so having full view of where Raph decides to go. So Flame 7 is up on the second floor right now, but he needs to be able to get on the rooftop, and I don't think there's any access there. But really the big threat is Boyte with his sniper rifle on top of the tower, and that's really bringing it in until this point though. Neptune finds a shot onto Boyte, and now he's going to try to take out someone else, but Bond in the meantime uses a scope rifle and uses that to take down Neptune. So Axis is very much scrambling around, but at least space has been created. Raph is able to regroup with the rest of the squad. Bond now trying to salvage this by trying to take some shots here from a distance, but is he going to be enough to keep Axis at bay though?
Yeah, they have corral Axis into this compound, but the members of VGM are spread really thin. Axis have been trying to get Vantan off of this roof for the longest time, and he is still staying there. But now Axis knows that the members of VGM are pretty much spread out around confinement, and they're getting all these shots. Boyte with the Car 97, the Car 98, making life extremely difficult for Axis to be out in the open. They're also getting flushed up by the Seekers as well, making movement so much more debilitating for Axis. All these footsteps though being heard by Boyte. He is so diligent of relocating himself. Axis just could not find him, and Ban is going to make contact with Vegeta, trying to spray him down. VGM finally collapsing onto Axis, but they did lose Vantan. Binsu needs to win this one, and he does. Has his buddy Bond to back him up. It's a 1-4-1 so far.
Yeah, the blue zone coming in just at the wrong moment there, and Axis now finding themselves having to turn tail there, losing out this battle somehow. Neptune, though, is going to be revived back, and perhaps he will be able to do the same for Vegeta, but it looks like this battle against VGM is going to have to be conceded to them, as now the blue zone closes around him, but Raph looks like he still wants to stick around a little bit longer, see whether or not he'll be able to catch something out. Meanwhile, Boywa finds Nero just around where the revive point is. They're going to be fighting against each other in the meantime, though, while Axis continues to keep VGM completely sieged up. They want to try to deny them the opportunity of proceeding through the rest of this round unscathed. Nero finally gets knocked down here by Anxiety, will get eliminated. Nowhere to be found is the rest of his team.
Yeah, and Nero learning the hard way. Wherever that high tier loot zone is where Anxiety will be. Yes. It's putting it out there in case you guys rewatch the broadcast. I think this is something kind of like a FARANG thing, but instead of the same drop zone, they will always go to where the map is blue. VGM continuing to push into Axis, and this is just an absolute bloodbath. Axis did not stand a chance.
Oh man, I mean, it made it even harder given the fact that it was close quarters, and they literally pulled out of that like warehouse section, which I think was actually a better place to hold compared to this bungalow here. But nevertheless, VGM were able to bring back both Bond and Vantan, so they were back to full fighting strength, and just having more guns kind of litter around confinement here just allowed them, now they made it very easy for them to get back up to speed. So now VGM, they still really want to continue to give chase to both Expand as well as Sem9, and and just unfortunate that Axis was just the one being a little bit of a speed bump in that progress there, and they've pretty much cleared that very quickly.
Yeah, just a very small obstacle in the road to greatness. With VGM, they did have a underwhelming round, but that's pretty much it. Overall, I think VGM is having a decent day. Anxiety still at the very bottom. This is the team that I think coming into challenge groups, being the directly invited team alongside Sem9, I think that even that still doesn't change the fact that there are doubts about Anxiety, because locally kind of see how Anxiety plays. It's a team that needs to meet a lot of conditions before they even are ready to take the fight to other squads, and we're seeing that. And it has been like this for the entirety of Phase 1. So far, nothing much has changed though.
I mean, that's the thing, it's still the same teams, you know, that they also played in Phase 1, so you don't necessarily expect things to change in that regard. It's just that now you're hoping that these squads have kind of learned a lot more information about these other rival teams that, you know, you think they'll be able to take a different approach coming into second phase. Sem9 in the meantime taking an approach onto DEWA United, and looks like they're already doing quite a number onto them as NOP goes in front. DEWA United cuts him off with the glue wall, forcing him to take the other side, but looks like he's going to send a throwable their way though in order to try to break up their positioning. Unfortunately, can't quite find an opening in order for him to slip by and get a flank here against DEWA United. The rest of Sem9 now slowly gathering onto this platform too. DEWA now getting onto the bottom of this while BAMS hold its ground, cannot hold it for too long as Newbie takes him out with the grenade. So now he's going to now they're going to have control over the top of the platform. DEWA is on the bottom. Fikri is now joining the rest of them, but he needs to watch out for the DEWA members who are still down on the ground. IKY and Rain also sniping from a distance there, but Rance is going to get caught out though by the throwables. Zenop going in front here with his glue walls for cover, takes down one. Can they find another though? I think so. Yeah, they do. They do find IKY as well, and that is unfortunate here for DEWA because now it's down to Rain to try to carry the flag for them.
Good news is that there is a revival point right at Foundation. The bad news is that he is chased down, getting shot at. Sem9 probably would not give chase, decide to hold on to this area, so, you know, DEWA United should be able to bring the rest of the team back. The MDH, on the other hand, not so lucky. KOG fighting JLX right in the open as DEWA will reunite. We'll have the whole squad back. It's going to slow down their progress just for a little bit. MDH continues to kind of play a very split game. I think all of the members are around, just spread out across the points of the map.
Yeah, just very much spread out on the border that's been shaped up now by the blue zone. So they're just really trying to cover as much ground as they can, but wonder how this is going to work out for them in the long run though, because it's going to be encounters like this right now where NP is getting so close now to where DEWA's revive point is. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to win this out. He only has 3 glue walls in hand, whereas DEWA, you know, even though they just only got revived, are already picking up some good weaponry for themselves. Not a lot of glue walls in BAM's kit though, and neither is there any health kits to boot. So I wonder how is he going to try to play this, because it's very much outnumbered. His best shot is to just basically try to go for broke and literally take down as many as he can before he inevitably gets taken out, but it's a very risky strategy with the blue walls now kind of like closing in onto the next safe zone here. DEWA might be incentivized to leave, and NP is going to try to use this opportunity to slip behind them. Oh, puts out a shot there. Can he get the knockdown in time though? Just literally slipping by there with the shield brought up, but it looks like DEWA is able to just get one shot there and just leaves NP to rot in the blue zone.
I felt like a bit of an impatient move by TNP. Decided want to take matters into his own hands, but it's not going to happen though. Don't Cry also caught up by anxiety. MDH just felt like they have been running their entire lives and still couldn't find a safe spot to slow down, but like we saw, they were split apart. DEWA decide to drop by and say hello to Team Flash, but they are not welcome into this territory, and they will get kicked out one by one. DEWA United, and it's all tears in the rain for DEWA United for sure. Nothing left in the tank for them. Wiped out by Team Flash.
Yeah, you even see Sem9 just trying to take pot shots as well onto them, spotting them from a distance, and that's the advantage that taking control of this platform does give. So DEWA United kind of falling as a result of some of the decisions they made here so far. Anxiety now joins in the fray, skyboarding their way to this next safe zone. And now, having already gotten plenty of loot from the blue zone, are going to be trying to use whatever they have already picked up here to join the fray. Flash, in the meantime, going to be caught on low ground here because King of Gamers have already spotted them out and is trying to gatekeep them from this next zone, and they have the perfect setup in order to do so. The thing is that, unfortunately, Knight doesn't really have a lot of gas left in his tank, so he's going to have to pull back and regroup with the rest of the squad, giving a little bit of breathing room, allowing Flash to approach the cliffs a little bit more safely and allowing them to regroup.
Sem9, they're also showing up at the edge of the cliff.
Uh-oh.
What's the move for Team Flash? Caught between rock and hard place. KOG on one side, Sem9 on the other. 3 members of Team Flash on their low ground. Sem9 seemingly having a bit of an advantage if they want to go for the push right now, but you can see they are also taking it slow. They know that Team Flashes have the same idea as them. Fikri kind of getting shot. Team Flash making that first move to run to Sem9, but Sem9 will be slowly corralling them into a corner, and it doesn't help that the blue zone is forcing them straight into the jaws of KOG, but it seems like Bayo is going to start things off, getting a good knockdown, and JLX will be picked back up. KOG, can they hold the fort against 2 teams who are vying for a safe haven? Expand is already out in the meantime, but Sem9 getting pushed. The glue wall buster is there. Sem9 needing to kind of push on forward a bit more. Fikri in a prime position to get a couple of snipes off. KOG holding back against Team Flash. This is a mess of a fight as ZenOP is going straight in. Grappling gun, close up distance, turns the corner, gets a swing off, puts up the glue wall, secures the kill for himself, and Zen is just berserk. Finally put to a stop, and Sem9 still going. Zen and Raja are no longer there, but Kevin's getting that kill for KOG. Team Flash and KOG somehow still in the game. Bayo, the last man alive for Team Flash, healing himself back up. KOG alive on the second floor. The whole team is there as Sem9 scrambles to revive the rest of the squad. Bayo watching this chaos unfold. Heavy now joins the fight, and Heavy is cleaning up shop.
No, man. I mean, Heavy has been the gatekeeper for 2 separate fights, though. There was a fight breaking out the south side, which is where Expand got cut down. And ZenOP's joining the fight, but he's now a sitting duck, literally, as he parachutes down, taking half his health out completely by the time he lands on the ground, as Heavy were able to shoot him from the sky. And now they're going to be going up straight onto where Flash is and King of Gamers are as well. So they're going to try to third-party them in this fight as well. Team Flash gets eliminated, though, with Mill now taking the last shot, and I think that's Team Heavy. Yes, Heavy that picks up the booyah.
We had 2 back-to-back booyahs for Team Flash, and afterwards we have 2 back-to-back booyahs for Heavy. This is Vietnam's day. 5 out of 6 booyahs going over to the team from that region, but I felt like this round was set up for Heavy from the very beginning. Circle was in their favor, everyone else was fighting, and Heavy just watching all of this unfold. Again, no big celebration yet. This is just the beginning of phase number 2, but you gotta feel a bit of more relief in the Heavy squad, to be honest.
I mean, even the first booyah as well, you could see that they're fully, having the full focus really on the days ahead. So they know that even though what they're doing right now is like impressive for the day itself, it's just really groundwork for them, to set up for the next couple of days. So I mean, very well done on Heavy's end though, because for one, they really took the opportunities. They saw there was a fight breaking down out in the south side. It was between Expand and 2 other squads, and Expand unfortunately got themselves completely taken out, but Heavy in the meantime took control of the bridge, which was a very crucial choke point, and that allowed them to basically keep the other 2 teams who were trying to fight in that zone over there. So Heavy, I mean, again, having taken the back-to-back booyahs now, can solidly say that Vietnam, the Vietnamese squads here are showing up now that the Thai players are away. So I think this is going to be the pattern we'll be continuing to see as the rest of Phase 2 unfolds. But now I think the question is in the other foot now. Can the other regions match up to the power of Vietnam in this particular phase right now? Because it seems like the Vietnamese squads already have not just put out like the top form here in the first day, but even have like taken good opportunities, good strategies in these maps here that I feel unless other regions also step up to the plate, it looks like Vietnam is quite ready to just literally sweep the whole floor of them.
Yeah, and they have been kind of put on the back foot. It felt like, they feel like they've been counted out thanks to all the Thai Titans being around in Phase 1, but it's their time. It's the redemption arc for Vietnam in general. Heavy with another booyah, second one of Phase number 2, back-to-back after the one on Bermuda. 20 points in this round. Sem9, sure, no booyah for them, but again, another solid round for the squad nonetheless. First place is still going to be theirs. They got 17 out of this one. King of Gamers Club getting 14. First Raiders finally putting double digits by the end of the round with 12 points. Team Flash, not too shabby. Anxiety also making a first place finish.
Yeah, and even like the lowest rung teams are still getting 1 or 2 kill points at least, so they're not actually going away of this final round empty-handed. But you know, for those bottom teams there, FARANG, Axis, DEWA United Esports, they're gonna have a lot of soul searching today to figure out what exactly is going wrong for them in phase number 2 here, because I wasn't seeing this kind of like underperformance during phase 1 here, and I wonder, is that because of like fatigue going on here? Literally, these teams are playing longer matches now in phase 2 compared to phase 1. But I'm also wondering, is that, you know, the new pecking order that phase 2 is showing here, with, you know, the Vietnamese teams clearly being like the front runners in this regard, and the other regions just struggling and trying to keep up.
Yeah, of course we gotta look at Semnai as our featured team. I honestly one of the most consistent one throughout the day, right? Aside from Heavy and Team Flash, with V Gaming also doing well, but overall I think Semnai is up there. It really felt like they only had one poor round, and even that round they got decent points. So at the end of the day, the lead is still within Semnai's grasp for sure. When we take a look at the overall leaderboard later on, I think Semnai, they Expand on the other hand, it's a pretty solid round considering that they were playing with inconsistencies before. So this is a good improvement for the Malaysian squads. They both are still topping the first and second place with Semnai in the lead, but the lead has extended just by a bit, almost 20 points. Expand is second, V Gaming Esports still in third, but Heavy and Team Flash separated by a 0.5 point margin.
Yeah, 3 of the Vietnamese squads already in the top 6. Only MDH is vying to try to get through and join them as well, but they're going to have to...
The KOG gap, sorry, I was just looking at the KOG gap, the KOG difference between them and FARANG. This is
huge, actually.
It's a bit worrying.
A bit worrying, because like literally that's going to gatekeep both FARANG and MDH from getting to that first page even. So yeah, I think you're right. It's like the MDH and FARANG is going to have to pull off mammoth rounds really in order to be able to break into that top 6, you know. And you know, even though they have a decent enough lead, and I wouldn't say it's like a significant lead over the other squads in the second page, but certainly it just really hammers home the point that these teams are kind of underperforming right now in phase number 2. They're going to need to step it up a lot more if they really want to be one of the final 6 teams to make it to Jakarta.
Absolutely. No, you mentioned that some of these teams need to go soul searching, but I think one team that's definitely done that during the break, that 1 day break between phase 1 and phase 2 is King of Gamers Club.
Oh,
this team was at the bottom. We were, well, kind of, comedically just talking about KOG, they're from Thailand, but like what the hell, right? Is it an imposter from Thailand? Apparently not. No. They are coming back swinging in phase number 2, but this will be the map pool for tomorrow. We have started with Purgatory, then we go on to Alpine, then we will have Bermuda and Kalahari for 1 round respectively before closing it out with Purgatory and Alpine again. Yes, the map rotation has switched up a bit, more challenge for these teams, but the good news is that they will not have to worry about switching around the groups. It will be these 12 teams constant until the end of next week. So that means that we will get to see more of them, and there's so many opportunities for the teams on the second page to catch up. But it's getting a bit worrying, at least by the end of day 1.
Yeah, especially for those who are still on the second page, even at the end of today, you were expecting to see things kind of mix up a little bit more, given that the half-point sort of like deductions for everyone from phase 1 has already bunched up the field a lot more. But then you're seeing that the really good squads right now just breaking away, from the pack very, very much in the first day itself. So it's going to be a lot of work, especially for those who are still 7th to 12th place currently in this stage of the group. But you still have to kind of have faith, because there's still multiple days ago. Like I said, there's still 5 more days in total to play all throughout. So many points to just grab all the way there, and all of that will have not been possible without our main sponsors. So shout out to Snapdragon Elite Gaming for when winning matters, and winning mattered a lot in the game of Free Fire here, because like winning means getting the booyah and as well getting the top kill points. And Snapdragon Pro Series, Snapdragon Snapdragon as a company has been powering the chips that powers your phones, so now they're powering this tournament. Along with that as well, we want to give a thank you for Samsung Galaxy for joining us in this journey in the Snapdragon Pro Series. Check out their newest phone, the Fold 4, which not only opens up to give you more screen real estate, I think it's also going to be a big boon for the gamers out there.
Absolutely. If you guys want a boost for yourself, aside from your hardware, we have Monster Energy to thank for that. They have been giving us power and unleashing the beast for us and also for the players behind the scenes. Check them out at www.monsterenergy.com/gaming. And last but not least, if you want the best gaming deals, the great deals for top-ups, check out no other place than Nikachishop.com. So give them a visit, get the best deals. We have so much more Free Fire coming up. This is just phase 2. And honestly, as a footnote for the end of the day, I did not expect us to see such a hierarchy just on day 1 itself. Jakarta coming up, that is what the teams are trying to aim for. With 12 teams remaining, only 6 will make it. And so far, we've seen 6 front runners who might just get there if they keep up this performance. 4th of February on 2023 will be the date for the Jakarta Grand Final, so cancel all your plans and make sure that those 2 dates are only meant for this. I hope to see you there. I don't know who you are, but I want to see you there.
I mean, it's a big boom for Jakarta next year because not only this Free Fire Championship is going to be having its grand finals there's a lot of big events as well in Jakarta itself. So, if you're a citizen of Indonesia, this is going to be an exciting year for you guys. I'm really, really jealous of you guys, honestly.
I want to go there, man.
Yeah, I know. Jakarta crowd is so crazy all the time. Every show I've gone to, it's like the passion, you can really feel it off of the crowd itself.
Yeah, just lovely people. I mean, the Evil's Divine SS Alpine are already there, so we're just waiting for the other 2 teams to make a comeback. But that's it for day number 1. We still have so much more to come tomorrow, same time at 8 p.m. That's where the show will kick off with our first round. But for now, we're going to sign out, and sign up for tomorrow after we get a good, nice rest. My name is Husky. Here's Victor. We'll catch you guys tomorrow for more Snapdragon Pro Series Free Fire Challenge Group Phase 2 action.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Galaxy Z Fold 4, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
Won't stop going till a player on top know it. Rooftop penthouse suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fire through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already. Emotional work and devotion. We put in this time. Look. You won't stop.
They don't want it with me. You got a problem with me? Love, you don't want it with me. Man, you won't ever stop me. Who y'all really got a problem with? Who y'all really trying to solve them with? Who don't really like the sound of this? Who come with me getting down to this? You better step back, get your neck cracked, get laid down where you best step. Better check that with a fresh map. Get lost now with no extract. Like, look, that's all me. Got my number, don't call me. We eating up, that's all beef. You freezing up, that's y'all's team. Cause we don't really lose no more. All about heating up, leaving that cold. You can see beating up, killing that show. I ain't about giving up, no.